Welcome to the Fantasy Audiobook. Fantasy. My background is hundreds of millions of points strong. Chapter 41. I saw Xiao Huang open his mouth and bite Xiao Wu. No, Tang San said angrily, but because the referee on the side was still looking at him covetously, Tang San could only watch helplessly as Xiao Wu, who looked helpless, had his neck bitten off by Xiao Huang. But it's normal to say that Xiao Huang's body contains a trace of white tiger blood. Although there is only a trace, there is no problem in suppressing ordinary creatures. This is also why Xiao Huang can hold Xiao Wu in place with just a slight shout. Winner, little fool. As Xiao Wu was killed directly, the referee said loudly, while Xiao Huang returned to Lu Juyuan's side with a lazy look on his face. At this time, the anger in Tang San's heart had reached its peak, but he also knew deeply that if he dared to make trouble here at this time, even the Tang sect would not be able to protect himself. Thinking of this, Tang San could only come to Xiao Wu with a gloomy face and was about to take Xiao Wu away, but at this time Lu Juyuan spoke. I'm quite interested in the silky bone rabbit. It's just a corpse anyway. How about selling it to me? Turning around, he saw Lu Juyuan speaking seriously. At this time, Tang San had already been extremely resentful of Lu Juyuan. How could he agree to Lu Juyuan's request and sell Xiao Wu's body to him? Doesn't this mean that he has given up? People can lose, but they must not lose. Thinking of this, Tang San was about to refuse immediately, but Lu Juyuan said softly, I will offer you 10,000 high-grade spiritual stones. Lu Juyuan seemed to have anticipated Tang San's thoughts, so he said without hesitation. As his price dropped, Tang San's words to refuse were stuck in his throat. You must know that that is 10,000 high-grade spiritual stones. Even if it is a huge amount of money that the entire Tang sect together may not be able to get, but they still suppress their greed with the reason in their hearts. If he takes the spirit stone, doesn't it mean that he is not as good as Lu Juyuan? If this happens, his invincible Taoist heart will be damaged, and he will even be unable to move forward in the future. And just when Tang San refused, Lu Juyuan's words came again. Are you not satisfied with 10,000? Then 20,000. Deal, you take it. When the sky-high price of 20,000 yuan came up, Tang San agreed without hesitation. Just kidding, that's 20,000 high-grade spiritual stones, a huge amount of money that even the Tang sect can't afford. If you have 20,000 high-grade spiritual stones, it will be enough for you to break through to the gold core stage in a very short period of time. Then it was time for him to take revenge. Although he took the money, the revenge plan in Tang San's heart never dissipated. Hearing that Tang San agreed without hesitation, Lu Juyuan was also a little stunned. Originally, he thought Tang San would be tougher. After all, his expectation was 100,000. From ancient times to the present, Lu Juyuan would probably be the only one who spent 100,000 high-quality spiritual stones to buy a soft bone rabbit in the early stage of qi refining. Take it. Lu Juyuan directly threw out a storage bag, which contained exactly 20,000 high-quality spiritual stones. There was no need for a storage ring for Tang San, so a storage bag would be enough. Firstly, it is because the value of the storage ring is much higher than that of the storage bag, and secondly, because the number of storage bags needs to be higher than that of the storage ring, so it is also to reduce inventory. Tang San took the storage bag thrown by Lu Juyuan, counted the high-quality spiritual stones in it, and left here quickly. He was going to buy resources to break through to the gold core stage quickly. Tisk, tisk, tisk. He is really a scumbag. Lu Juyuan shook his head, and then came to the body of the soft bone rabbit and put Xiao Wu away. The soft bone rabbit had to be eaten while it was hot, otherwise it would not taste good. During this period, Xiao Huang just followed Lu Juyuan quietly. By the way, should I just continue or what? When he was about to leave, Lu Juyuan looked at the referee curiously. The referee's expression was a little strange. People who came to Tianyang Coliseum didn't understand the rules of duel. But he explained patiently, you can choose to continue, but it will take an hour because you need to match a suitable opponent. After hearing the referee's words, Lu Juyuan did not hesitate and chose to continue, then went down and waited. At this time, people in the audience became a little curious, but they were attracted by the next battle without being curious for a long time. After all, not many of them bought bets on this battle. However, there were still a few people who bought bets on this battle. After all, they couldn't make any money, so it was just a matter of fun. Hey, senior sister, I just said that my vision is better, now you believe it. In the audience, Cheng Shui and Lin Yuren, who were in the secret realm before, were among them, and Lin Yuren said with excitement. After all, she had eaten a lot of soft bone rabbits, so she naturally knew that the soft bone rabbit itself was not very big. Combat power, as long as you are caught, you will die. Cheng Shui's focus was completely different from Lin Yuren's. A mediocre little local dog actually won. He is worthy of being someone who can tame a real dragon. It's really terrifying. The two of them had recognized Lu Juyuan a long time ago, but at this time, Cheng Shui had already reached the foundation building stage, while Lin Yuren had reached the peak of qi refining. Senior sister, you promised me that if you lose, you will give me the Tiancanyi. Lin Yuren thought of something at this time and reminded him. Cheng Shui just shook his head and smiled. How can it be that senior sister is short of this Tiancanyi of yours? Take it. After saying that, he took out a piece of clothing as white as snow from the storage ring and handed it to Lin Yuren. After Lin Yuren took it, he quickly passed it on. Tiancanyi also immediately changed into a size suitable for Lin Yuren. If there are knowledgeable people here, they will definitely be able to see that the silkworm clothing today is made of red smoked silk spit out by the red smoked silkworm, but it is a genuine low-grade defensive protective gear. Resist the attack of the early gold core monks. On the other side, Li Azure Emperor and Li Qingping rushed towards the preparation area non-stop after seeing Lu Juyuan's victory. On the way, Li Azure Emperor was also a little surprised. He didn't expect that a little local dog chosen by Brother Lu could kill the soft bone rabbit in an instant. Although the soft bone rabbit was not strong, it could be conquered by Xiao Huang with a roar. This shows that what? It shows that Xiao Huang is definitely not as simple as he seems. When the two of them arrived at the preparation area, Lu Juyuan was already setting up a pot to light the fire. An hour was enough for him to cook the soft bone rabbit. You are here, want to take a bite? Ah, well, forget it, let's have a bite. Li Azure Emperor had been eating rice for a long time, but he couldn't bear Lu Juyuan's warm invitation, so he had to take a small bite. But after one mouthful, Li Azure Emperor couldn't help it anymore, and started eating in big mouthfuls. Brother, don't eat so fast. I haven't eaten much yet. Li Qingping said with a complaint when she saw this scene, but Li Azure Emperor didn't care so much at this time. The reason why he wanted to eat crazily was because he felt that this soft one rabbit was actually of great benefit to him. As the soft bone rabbits are gradually being eaten, Li Azure Emperor's cultivation level is only one step away from breaking through to the middle stage of void refining. He only needs to practice a little more after returning. This saved Li Azure Emperor nearly 100 years of hard training. You must know that according to his original prediction, it would take 100 years for him to break through to the middle stage of void refining. This is not because Li Azure Emperor's talent is low, but with Li Azure Emperor low grade's talent, it is already very good to be able to break through a small realm in 100 years. After breaking through to the void refining stage, the lifespan was as high as 10,000 years. In their eyes, a short period of 100 years was equivalent to 1 year for a mortal. Thank you Brother Lu for your help. After eating, Li Azure Emperor thanked Lu Juyuan without hesitation, while Lu Juyuan was a little confused and said in surprise. It's okay, come to me anytime if you need anything. In his previous life, Lu Juyuan often cooked by himself, which was not unpalatable. After transmigrating to Emperor Zan continent, he pondered his cooking skills in his free time, but he didn't expect that he would find something surprising. Well, thank you very much, Brother Lu. Li Azure Emperor said with a smile, while Li Qingping looked at the little rabbit leg left in her hand, with helplessness on her face. Before she could react, the soft bone rabbit was almost eaten by Li Azure Emperor. Fortunately, she snatched a rabbit leg quickly with her hands and eyes. Is it so delicious? When Li Qingping saw Li Azure Emperor's performance, she bit the rabbit leg in her hand with some suspicion. Not good. Seeing this scene, Li Azure Emperor suddenly screamed secretly, and then quickly came to Li Qingping. As the rabbit leg entered his belly, Li Qingping suddenly felt a violent force in his body. It's about to explode as it moves. Fortunately, Li Azure Emperor took action in time to help Li Qingping stabilize the power in her body, so she did not explode and die. This violent power helped Li Qingping break through from the early stage of foundation building to the peak of foundation building, but still nothing. The kind of sequelae. At this time, Li Qingping knew why her brother wanted to thank Lu Juyuan. Just kidding, just a rabbit leg helped her break through 3 small realms, let alone her brother who ate most of the soft bone rabbit. Juyuan, thank you. Li Qingping looked at Lu Juyuan with a complicated expression and said. At this time, Lu Juyuan also had some reaction. It seemed that the food he cooked was extraordinary. Then why didn't he feel it? But after thinking about it, Lu Juyuan decided not to think about it anymore. After all, his current cultivation speed is extremely fast. It will probably take less than a month to break through to the gold core stage, and he won't need the blessing of his own food. It's okay, I just did it casually. Lu Juyuan shook his head nonchalantly and said, and his image suddenly magnified infinitely in the eyes of Li Qingping and Li Azure Emperor. He is a good man, a truly peerless good man. But Li Azure Emperor soon thought of something, looked at Lu Juyuan and asked with a solemn expression. Brother Lu, is there something mysterious about this little local dog? Lu Juyuan just shook his head. He didn't feel that there was anything mysterious about Xiao Huang. He just felt that he and Xiao Huang were destined, so he accepted Xiao Huang. Hearing Lu Juyuan's words, although Li Azure Emperor was a little disappointed, it was normal. He couldn't see it even in the void refining stage. If he was found out in the foundation establishment stage, wouldn't it be embarrassing? Okay, I have to prepare for the second game. Xiao Huang, get ready. Lu Juyuan looked at Xiao Huang who was lying lazily on the ground. Xiao Huang just raised his head and glanced at Lu Juyuan before continuing to sleep. If that's the case, then we won't disturb you, Brother Lu, let's go. After Li Azure Emperor said that, he took Li Qingping and left. He and Li Qingping were going to continue betting. Maybe Lu Juyuan could really win 10 consecutive games. At the same time, the news of Lu Juyuan's victory quickly reached Chen Qi's ears. Although he expected the little native dog to win, he did not expect that the little native dog would win so easily. Something's wrong. Could it be that this little local dog is really not that simple? It's just that our powerful experts in the Tianyang Beast Fighting Association's collective stage didn't find anything wrong. I'm afraid it's an illusion. However, if the little earth dog actually wins, it means that the strength of the little earth dog is probably higher than that of the soft bone rabbit, so it is better to arrange for a monster that is more powerful than the soft bone rabbit to go up. After Chen Kai said this, he ordered to go down and arrange for the monsters to be stronger for Lu Juyuan and others. On the other hand, Lu Juyuan's game was quickly filmed and was seen by many gamblers present. Hey, that little fool still dares to continue. Hey, the odds are a bit high, they've actually reached 1.2. It's just that the little native dog's opponent is a poisonous mantis. I'm afraid the little native dog will die miserably now. After seeing the odds of the little native dog, many gamblers wanted to place a bet but noticed that the opponent of the little native dog was a poisonous mantis, so they gave up after thinking about it. The claws of the poisonous mantis have a paralyzing effect. If it is scratched, it will be paralyzed in a very short time and become meat. However, Li Qingping and Li Azure Emperor did not hesitate much and directly placed heavy bets on Lu Juyuan. Firstly, they are not short of money, and secondly, they want to see how far the little local dog can reach its limit. Maybe he can win 10 consecutive games. Cheng Shui and others also saw this scene and were a little surprised. Shouldn't they just give it up? Lin Yuren thought of something, looked at Cheng Shui with a wicked smile and said, Senior sister, do you want to stop betting with me? I still think the little fool can win. Forget it, you already took a piece of silkworm clothing from me. I don't have anything better. Cheng Shui didn't want to continue to mess up the boat, so she quickly shook her head to express her rejection. Okay, but let's continue betting on the little dog. Will he win? Lin Yuren said with some disappointment. She originally wanted to continue to collect some wool, but she didn't expect that the senior sister actually refused. Well, I also really want to see what the limits of this little fool are. Cheng Shui said with a serious face. She defeated the soft bone rabbit in the last round, and she didn't expect to suffer a huge loss. This time she will get back everything she lost from the little native dog. And time passed quickly, and an hour passed quickly. Let's go, Xiao Huang, it's time to go up. Lu Juyuan kicked Xiao Huang, who had just fallen asleep, and then walked towards the Colosseum, and Xiao Huang followed him unhurriedly. At the same time, the referee on the number 9 fighting stage became serious after seeing that Lu Juyuan was on the field. After all, it was explained above that Lu Juyuan was following that person. Everyone, let us welcome the little local dog who instantly killed the silky bone rabbit in the first battle. As Lu Juyuan and Xiao Huang appeared on the ring, the referee calmly reached out to the other side. And the little local dog will encounter such a strong opponent this time. Let us welcome the poisonous mantis. At the referee's order, a middle-aged man in black clothes soon walked out of the exit, and on his shoulder stood a dark green mantis, with a faint smell emitting from his claws. There is no sense of threat. And this is the poisonous mantis. As long as it is caught, it will be poisoned and paralyzed. The middle-aged man said without hesitation as soon as he came out. Young man, you'd better surrender as soon as possible. My poisonous mantis is no match for your little dog. Although it has entered the qi refining stage, it is still vulnerable to my baby. Lu Juyuan said with some disdain. Uncle, your poisonous mantis doesn't look as big as one of my Xiao Huang's claws. You should still worry about whether your baby will be slapped to death by Xiao Huang later. Okay, baby, don't be merciful later, I want him to see how his little Huang died. The middle-aged man snorted coldly and said. Originally, he wanted to make the other party retreat in spite of the difficulties, but he didn't expect that he actually wanted to seek death, so it was out of his hands. Please calm down, players on both sides, the game is ready to begin. The referee stood up and said, and the middle-aged man looked at him. The poisonous mantis on his shoulder immediately jumped to the ground. Xiao Huang stood up when he saw this, but the whole dog still looked extremely lazy. Game start. Following the referee's order, Poison Mantis rushed towards Xiao Huang. Now I think the little native dog is about to fall into trouble. After all, the poisonous mantis is small in stature, but it is extremely fast, almost as fast as the soft bone rabbit. Yes, but more importantly, the claws of the poisonous mantis contain strong paralyzing toxins. If you are scratched, tisk tisk tisk, you will definitely lose. But I don't know why, but I always feel that this little local dog can bring us different surprises. The audience in the auditorium didn't know when they started to stop looking down on Xiao Huang. Some even wanted to see if Xiao Huang could defeat the poisonous mantis. As the poisonous mantis was about to arrive in front of Xiao Huang, Lu Juyuan said calmly. Xiao Huang, fight quickly, don't delay. Following Lu Juyuan's order, Xiao Huang immediately started to move. He saw Xiao Huang running towards the poisonous mantis quickly, but the speed was extremely slow in the eyes of everyone, which was faster than the average little native dog. Just the previous point. Soon, a dog and a mantis finally met, and the poisonous mantis stretched out its claws to scratch Xiao Huang. As long as it could scratch Xiao Huang, the next victory would be a matter of time. Even the middle-aged man couldn't help laughing when he saw this scene. The victory has been decided. Not necessarily yet. Lu Juyuan said with a faint smile on his lips. As he finished speaking, Xiao Huang quickly stretched out his claws and smashed the poisonous mantis opposite him into a pulp. This sudden change made the middle-aged people opposite and the gamblers in the audience froze in place. Only Li Azure Emperor said in surprise. Another instant kill. What is the origin of this Xiao Huang? A moment later, there was a roar from the scene. How is it possible? Am I right? The poisonous mantis was killed with just one palm strike. Hey, why do I have a hunch that this little fool can win 5 times in a row? No matter what, if the little native dog continues to fight, then I will bet that the little native dog will win. I don't know why, but I feel that the little native dog is definitely not as simple as it seems. The referee also reacted quickly and shouted, "Winner, little fool." The middle-aged man opposite him quickly reacted and said with a gloomy expression, "Boy, you pretend to be a pig and eat the tiger. How can you be so vicious?" If he wasn't afraid of the referee and the Chen family, he might have killed Lu Juyuan long ago. Oh, am I evil? I never said my Xiao Huang was weak. Lu Juyuan said with some confusion, and then turned around to leave, but before leaving, Lu Juyuan paused. But I advise you to have some moral integrity, lest you get killed one day. After that, Lu Juyuan took Xiao Huang and left here. Of course, before leaving, Lu Juyuan asked the referee to arrange the next battle for him. Since he wants to achieve 10 consecutive victories, he naturally won't spend too much time on it. Cheng Shui on the other side also froze on the spot, and smiled after a moment. I didn't expect that a little native dog could actually defeat the poisonous mantis. When did this world change? But this little native dog must not be as simple as it seems on the surface. It needs to be relieved when necessary. But this time I have to thank the little local dog for allowing me to earn 2,000 low-grade spiritual stones out of thin air. She had previously purchased 10,000 low-grade spiritual stones. If she went to get them back, she would be able to directly earn 2,000 low-grade spiritual stones, a huge profit. At this time, Lu Juyuan had also brought Xiao Huang back to the preparation area. After returning to the preparation area, Lu Juyuan picked up Xiao Huang without hesitation, with a trace of curiosity in his eyes. Xiao Huang, now I'm even more curious, what kind of dog are you that can actually defeat the poisonous mantis? You are a dog, and your whole family is a dog. After hearing Lu Juyuan's words, Xiao Huang cursed loudly, but it was a pity that his language was just barking in Lu Juyuan's eyes. After all, he had to break through to the gold core stage before he could speak human language. Yes, I forgot that you are just a dog. Let Long Aotian take a look at it when we go back to Qingshan Garden. That guy should be able to know what species you are. Lu Juyuan shook his head and immediately put Xiao Huang on the ground. Long Aotian is now a real dragon. With his eyesight, he should be able to tell what species Xiao Huang is. The reason why Long Aotian can speak human words when he is at the peak of foundation building is because Long Aotian's own bloodline is unusual and he is much stronger than other monsters. Being able to speak at the peak of foundation building is not considered a problem. Strange things. Hearing Lu Juyuan's words, Xiao Huang also became a little curious. Does Lu Juyuan have other pets? Castle Peak Garden. Ah, who is thinking of me? Long Aotian, who was refining dragon blood, sneezed and said with some suspicion, because how could someone at his level sneeze? There was only one truth, and that was that someone was thinking about him, but Long Aotian didn't think much about it. He just turned over and continued to refine dragon blood. At this time, he has broken through to the middle stage of gold core, and it is estimated that it will not be long before he can break through to the late stage. And soon, the news that Xiao Huang eliminated the poisonous mantis with one blow reached Chen Qi's ears. After hearing this, Chen Kai became a little uneasy at this time. Are you sure? Chen Kai looked at the subordinates in front of him solemnly, and the subordinates nodded seriously. I'm sure that little local dog killed the poisonous mantis with just one blow. Is that so? It seems that we did make a mistake this time. But even if we made a mistake, how can a little local dog get so powerful? Give me the order to arrange for his opponent to be stronger in the next match. If possible, let him stop here. Chen Kai said casually, and after receiving the order, his men quickly went to operate. The opponent of the little native dog's next battle was soon announced. The audience who saw this scene suddenly became restless. You don't want to continue playing at the Tianyang Coliseum. They actually used the Silver Moon Wolf to deal with a little local dog. Tisk, 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 this is no longer a small fight. I'm afraid the little local dog will stop here. Indeed, the Silver Moon Wolf is extremely powerful in combat, and the little local dog will probably become the Silver Moon Wolf's delicacy. Although they were extremely excited about Xiao Huang's 1.5 odds for the next battle, they did not dare to take such a risk before the absolute strength gap. So most gamblers turned around and bet on Silver Moon Wolf to win, and Silver Moon Wolf's odds reached 1.1. Although it was a small amount, it was a sure win. However, there are still a very small number of people who beat Xiao Huang to win. After all, they are gamblers themselves and are good at betting. And judging from the previous situation, it seems that this little fool has not yet exerted his full strength. Maybe it is really true. Can defeat the Silver Snow Wolf. Li Qingping and Li Azure Emperor did not hesitate to continue to suppress Xiao Huang's victory. Anyway, they were originally trying to suppress Lu Juyuan, and at this time they had also realized that Xiao Huang was definitely not simple. It's just that there are many terrifying beings among four-legged creatures, so they didn't think about Xiao Huang's background. On the other side, following the bets were Cheng Shui and Lin Yuren. Cheng Shui made the bet just to see where the limit of Xiao Huang's strength was, but Lin Yuren said that there was no shortage of money at all. As the direct disciples of the elders of the Beishui sect, the two of them naturally had enough spiritual stones to start. Nature is also extremely generous. Lu Juyuan, who was in the preparation area, had also received the news from his opponent and couldn't help but sneer. Does Tianyang Coliseum not want me to continue on this journey? It's just that I came here for the 10 million bonus, so how could I give up halfway? Xiao Huang, you shouldn't have much problem dealing with Silver Moon Wolf. Lu Juyuan looked at Xiao Huang aside and asked, but Xiao Huang just raised his head and glanced at him. The meaning in his eyes was self-evident. It was just a Silver Moon Wolf, nothing to be afraid of. If that's the case, then prepare well. They will probably be surprised later. Lu Juyuan shook his head. At the same time, the owner of Silver Moon Wolf on the other side had also received the news and couldn't help but sneer. It's just a little local dog. The reason why he was able to defeat the smooth rabbit and poisonous mantis was just because his opponents despised him. Xiao Yin, wait and attack with all your strength, don't give them the slightest chance. Ooh, the Silver Moon Wolf lying next to him barked twice in response, and soon it was time for the Silver Moon Wolf to hit the road. When he saw the little local dog's opponent, the referee even suspected that he had made a mistake, but if he looked more carefully, he probably made the decision from above. If they were defeated by a little local dog so many times in a row, it would be very embarrassing for them in the Tianyang Coliseum. Although it was a pity, the referee still said with a smile. Everyone, let us welcome our 2-game winning streak player, Little Dog, and his powerful opponent, Silver Moon Wolf. Whether the little local dog can bring us surprises again this time, let's wait and see. Soon, Xiao Huang came to the center of the beast fighting platform leisurely. At the same time, Lu Juyuan also saw clearly the owner of the Silver Moon Wolf. He seemed to be about the same age as himself. He must be the young master of some family. Boy, I advise you to surrender as soon as possible. My little Silver will not show mercy. The first two just underestimated you. I will not make such a foolish mistake. The young man opposite said with a cold snort, while Lu Juyuan was a little curious, how did this boy figure out that the silky bone rabbit and the poisonous mantis were in trouble? Young man, what's your name? Lu Juyuan was not angry because of this. After all, the people who could make him angry were all dead. But what Lu Juyuan didn't expect was that the young man opposite was not only arrogant, but also had a worrying IQ. I didn't scream. Hearing this answer, Lu Juyuan suddenly had a dark look on his face and said speechlessly. Young man, what's your name? Oh, so I want to know the name of the person who defeated you. I can't change my name, but I can't change my surname. Yi Chengqing does the same. Is your surname Yi? Lu Juyuan murmured, but after thinking about it, he stopped thinking about it. Anyway, he was bound to get the 10 million spirit stones. The battle begins. Following the referee's order, Yi Chengqing took the lead in shouting. Xiao Yin, give it to me, don't leave any room to spare. After saying that, the Silver Moon Wolf on the side turned into a polar shadow and attacked Xiao Huang. After seeing the menacing approach of the Silver Moon Wolf, Xiao Huang immediately put away his laziness. Immediately, the hind legs exerted a little force and ran towards the Silver Moon Wolf. In just over 2 seconds, the distance between the wolf and the dog was continuously shortened. This little local dog is definitely not that simple. In terms of speed, it is actually comparable to my little Silver. Although Yi Chengqing was a little arrogant, he was not a brainless person. After seeing Xiao Huang's performance, he immediately understood that Xiao Huang was definitely not as simple as he seemed. At this time, a wolf and a dog were also close together. Xiao Yin directly raised his paw and attacked Xiao Huang fiercely, but Xiao Huang stepped back and dodged it. Then Xiao Huang howled, which might not be a big deal to ordinary people's ears, but to Yi Chengqing's ears it was like thunder. This is the pressure of White Tiger. When Xiao Huang roared, Yi Chengqing suddenly lost his composure. Although others couldn't hear it, how could he, who was born in the Yi family, not be able to hear it? There was a hint of White Tiger's coercion in Xiao Huang's roar. Although there is only a trace, the combat power blessing that can be given to Xiao Huang is absolutely terrifying. Sure enough, as Xiao Huang let out a roar, Silver Moon Wolf's movements were immediately interrupted. Silver Moon Wolf's footsteps paused, and the entire wolf's body was unconsciously stiffened in place. At the same time, Xiao Huang chose to pursue the victory. I saw Xiao Huang rushing to the front of the Silver Moon Wolf with a quick step, opening his big mouth and about to bite him. Under the support of a trace of White Tiger's coercion, the Silver Moon Wolf had no ability to move at all. And at this critical moment, Yi Chengqing suddenly shouted, "We surrender." As Yi Chengqing finished speaking, Lu Juyuan on the side also spoke. "Xiao Huang, let's stop here." After hearing this, Xiao Huang shook his head and returned to Lu Juyuan. At the same time, the audience in the audience also realized that something was wrong. Isn't this little local dog really a divine beast? Can it actually suppress the Silver Moon Wolf? Hiss, no matter who the little native dog's opponent is in the next round, I must bet on the little native dog to win. Tisk, 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 now we have something good to watch. Many gamblers said in surprise, but the most shocked ones were none other than Cheng Shui and Lin Yuren. This kid actually defeated the Silver Moon Wolf with just a little country dog. Cheng Shui's face was full of disbelief, but Lin Yuren didn't realize anything but said happily, "As expected of the male god in my eyes, he is so awesome." Something's wrong, there's definitely something wrong with that little local dog. But Mr. Liu has a good relationship with King Li, so Tianyang Coliseum probably won't say anything. Cheng Shui quickly thought of something, but also thought that Lu Juyuan had a good relationship with the royal family, and he would not mess around when he came to Tianyang Coliseum. When the news reached Chen Qi's ears, Chen Kai stood up with a look of disbelief. How is it possible? How can a mere little country dog defeat the Silver Moon Wolf? Does this little country dog have some secrets? Chen Qi's face darkened when he said this. You must know that this little native dog had passed through the eyes of their appraiser, but even so, he still didn't see anything mysterious. What does this mean? The little native dog definitely contains bloodline far beyond what their Chen family appraisers have seen. I wanted to get the little local dog back, but I also thought that Lu Juyuan had a very good relationship with the Li family. In addition, the Shui family has not yet come to seek revenge from Lu Juyuan. Doesn't this explain the seriousness of the matter? Forget it. If that's the case, then we can only let it go, but we must not let the little fools continue on and arrange for me to give them more powerful opponents. Chen Kai quickly ordered that Lu Juyuan and others must not be allowed to win 10 games in a row. You must know that the bonus for winning 10 games in a row is as high as tens of millions of high-quality spiritual stones, which is the net profit of their Tianyang Coliseum for a whole year. If someone in the family knew about it, even if they didn't kill themselves, they would definitely not make themselves feel too good. But what Chen Kai didn't expect was that Xiao Huang's bloodline was far more terrifying than he imagined. Although it was just a trace of white tiger blood, if nothing unexpected happened, Xiao Huang's lowest limit in the future would be the Mahayana stage. If there is a chance, it is not an accident to break through to the celestial immortal stage. After all, a white tiger with a complete white tiger bloodline is a terrifying creature capable of breaking through to the immortal king stage. At the same time, on the number 9 beast fighting platform, Yi Chengqing looked at Lu Juyuan with a complicated expression. Oh, I didn't expect that I would lose to you. It's normal. After all, even the immortal emperor dare not say victory until he is absolutely sure. Lu Juyuan shook his head and said, although the immortal emperor is powerful, in his eyes, it is just a goal, not an unattainable existence. On the opposite side, Yi Chengqing's eyes widened in disbelief after hearing Lu Juyuan's words. You must know that it was the immortal emperor, a terrifying existence that even he did not dare to belittle. Should I say that you are not guilty of ignorance, or should I say that you are arrogant? That is the immortal emperor. Yi Chengqing shook his head and then said seriously. But no matter what, you are the more interesting person I met in Tianling province. If you are lucky enough to go outside Tianling province in the future, come to ancient Guangzhou and report the banner of my Yi family, I'll still be happy to receive you. After Yi Chengqing finished speaking, he gave an order, then snorted, and then Silver Moon Wolf quickly came to his feet and followed him away. After Lu Juyuan heard Yi Chengqing's words, a trace of solemnity appeared on his face. Is there an existence outside of Tianling State? The Yi family of the ancient imperial state may not be around for long. The referee said loudly after seeing this scene. Let us congratulate the little native dog for winning the 3rd game. Let us wait and see whether the little native dog can win again and win the 10th game. After saying that, Lu Juyuan took Xiao Huang back to the preparation area. After all, although Xiao Huang could use white tiger pressure, the number of times was not too high. In addition, after this battle, the next monsters sent by Tianyang Coliseum were it's probably not a trivial matter. Soon Li Azure Emperor and Li Qingping also found this place. Anyway, they had never heard of ancient Wangzhou, so they looked at Li Azure Emperor curiously. Unexpectedly, Emperor Li Azure's face became extremely serious after hearing about Jiyu Wangzhou, and then he smiled bitterly. Brother Lu, do you actually not know about ancient Wangzhou? Indeed, I know very little about this kind of thing on weekdays. I am basically obsessed with cultivation. Lu Juyuan thought for a while and said perfunctorily, while Li Azure Emperor was stunned, but he could only explain. Brother Lu, you should know that our Emperor Zan continent has 3,000 dojo. But among these 3,000 dojo, they are divided into top dojo, superior dojo, middle dojo and low-grade dojo. Quote. And our Tianling prefecture is a middle-level Taoist state, while Guhuangzhou is an upper-level Taoist state. Moreover, in the upper-level Taoist states, there is still plenty of immortal energy, but we have to break through to the Mahayana stage to absorb the immortal energy. Li Azure Emperor shook his head with some admiration, but even his father had not yet broken through to the Mahayana stage, let alone him. After breaking through to the Mahayana stage, you can also choose to stay in low-grade or middle dojo. After all, monks at the Mahayana stage can also convert spiritual energy into immortal energy, but the process is extremely slow. Is it like this? Lu Juyuan said with a serious expression, and then asked curiously. Then what level does Guhuangzhou rank among the top Taoist states? Top 10. Li Azure Emperor said with a serious face. The whole sentence showed that the strength of ancient Wangzhou was definitely very strong, but even so, Yi Chengqing still said to go to ancient Wangzhou to report the name of his Yi family. All this is enough to show that the power of the Yi family in Guhuangzhou is definitely not small, and Yi Chengqing's status in the Yi family is probably not much lower. If it were before, Lu Juyuan might have been a little afraid or envious, but now he is not afraid. Even if the Lu family surpasses the Yi family, it will not take much time. Outside the Tianyang Coliseum on the other side. I don't know when Yi Chengqing has arrived high in the sky, and beside him is an old man standing. Young master, this trip is over. Do you want to go back to the family? The old man said respectfully to Yi Chengqing, while Yi Chengqing nodded coldly. Well, let's go back. After staying in Tianling province for so long this time, it's time to go back and practice. Did the young master encounter anything interesting during this trip? Is it interesting? It's hard to say, it's just that I don't know if we can meet again in the future. Let's go. Thinking of Lu Juyuan, Yi Chengqing smiled and shook his head. Then under the action of the old man, Yi Chengqing also disappeared, and the old man was a strong man in the earth immortal realm. He was so powerful that no one in the entire Yuanwu kingdom discovered his existence or departure. What, we won again? When Chen Kai heard that Lu Juyuan had won again, the anger on his face was self-evident. You must know that after Yi Chengqing left, Lu Juyuan won 3 more games. And this means that Lu Juyuan only needs to win 4 more games before he can win 10 million top-quality spiritual stones. You must know that that is a crazy number. No, if I really win 10 games, the family will definitely tear me apart, but Lu Juyuan can't be tough. Send out the violent bears. Thinking of something, Chen Qi's heart skipped a beat and he said, after all, he couldn't afford to offend both sides, so he could only send out the violent bear. As for the violent bear, as a creature with a unique and huge size in the Qi refining stage, its strength and defense are not comparable to those of ordinary monsters in the early stage of Qi refining. So when he sent out the violent bear, Chen Kai already thought that Xiao Huang would definitely be defeated, but what Chen Kai didn't expect was that Lu Juyuan didn't have a trace of emotion in his heart. Just kidding, the violent bear is nothing, but it is nothing in front of Xiao Huang. When Xiao Huang and Lu Juyuan stood opposite, the violent bear looked at the man and the dog with disdain. After all, the violent bear was almost 100 times larger than Xiao Huang. Even Lu Juyuan needed to look at the violent bear. You have to look up to see it. Xiao Huang, you should be fine, Lu Juyuan said calmly. Proud, Xiao Huang just yelled and said nothing more, and Lu Juyuan already knew that Xiao Huang didn't pay attention to the violent bear at all. Under the absolute bloodline suppression, no matter how big it is still nothing in Xiao Huang's eyes. Game start. Following the referee's order, Furious Bear took action first, and the ring was shaking when he ran. In this situation, Xiao Huang looked even more weak and pitiful. However, Xiao Huang was not too worried. When the bear's paw was about to fall, Xiao Huang finally started to fight back. Xiao Huang ran quickly and easily avoided the violent bear's attack. Although the violent bear is powerful, its speed is much slower. Therefore, in Xiao Huang's eyes, the violent bear's attack is extremely slow, enough for Xiao Huang to easily dodge. And similar attacks on the violent bear can't be used many times. This means that as long as Xiao Huang persists for a while, when the violent bear is exhausted, it will be time for Xiao Huang to fight back. I'm just curious, can Xiao Huang break through the violent bear's defense? Looking at the extremely huge body of the violent bear, Li Azure Emperor shook his head and said with some worry, while Li Qingping said seriously. Yes, absolutely yes. I believe Xiao Huang can definitely create miracles. And we didn't expect that Xiao Huang could win until now, right? Hearing Li Qingping's words, Li Azure Emperor seemed to think the same thing, and then smiled and shook his head. Wouldn't you know it if you read on? The development of the matter was as expected by Li Azure Emperor. Although the power of the violent bear was powerful, it could not sustain the violent bear for long. After attacking continuously for more than 5 minutes, the violent bear's movements also changed. Gotta slow down. Now, come on, Xiao Huang. Following Lu Juyuan's order, Xiao Huang quickly ran towards the violent bear, and arrived under the violent bear in just a few seconds. Upon seeing this, the violent bear dropped his palm without hesitation. Upon seeing this, Xiao Huang roared out, and the white tiger's pressure caused the violent bear to slow down uncontrollably. Xiao Huang jumped on the violent bear with all his strength and bit it hard on the neck. That extremely terrifying defense was vulnerable to Xiao Huang's teeth. One bite fell on the violent bear's neck, and blood spurted out. After a few more mouthfuls, even the powerful violent bear could only drink to the northwest. The gamblers who saw this scene roared crazily. Little fool. Enjoying the cheers of everyone, Xiao Huang just returned to Lu Juyuan calmly, and Lu Juyuan just patted his head and then took him back to the preparation area. Let us congratulate the little local dog for achieving 7 consecutive victories. With only 3 more wins, its owner will receive a reward of 10 million high-quality spiritual stones. The referee said with excitement, and the gamblers present immediately reacted after hearing this. Yeah, I didn't even expect that there was such a thing. Yes, after all, no monster has ever been able to achieve 10 consecutive victories. If the little local dog can achieve 10 consecutive victories, I am afraid that the Tianyang Coliseum will be embarrassed. Tisk, 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 it's just that I don't think Tianyang Coliseum will let others win 10 consecutive victories. After all, 10 million top-quality spiritual stones can be hired by monks from the Transcending Tribulation stage. When everyone thought that Tianyang Coliseum would never let Lu Juyuan take away tens of millions of top-quality spiritual stones, they did not expect that Chen Kai was completely at his wits' end at this time. Do you really want Lu Juyuan to win 10 million high-quality spiritual stones? Chen Kai said incompetently and furiously, but the most important thing at the moment is to keep the top 10 million spiritual stones. Thinking of this, Chen Kai took a deep breath, then stood up and walked outside. He was going to see someone. Meet Lu Juyuan. Tisk, 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 Brother Lu, you are really amazing. You have reached 7 consecutive victories so quickly. Judging from this trend, it is estimated that the 10 million top-grade spiritual stones are yours. In the preparation area, Emperor Li Azure said sincerely to Lu Juyuan that after all, there were so many spirit stones that even he could not easily take out. It's just a trivial matter. I still don't take it seriously, even if it's only 10 million top-quality spiritual stones. Lu Juyuan said politely, and at this time, Li Qingping's eyes were filled with admiration. When Li Azure Emperor was about to say something, he felt something and said with a little playfulness on his face. "Brother Lu, it seems someone is looking for you." After saying that, he turned around and looked somewhere, only to see a middle-aged man's figure appearing there at some point. "Oh, you came to see me." Lu Juyuan was also a little curious. He didn't know anyone in the capital, so would anyone come looking for him? It was Chen Kai who came here. When he saw Li Azure Emperor and Li Qingping here, Chen Qi's expression did not change much. "I've met the third prince and the sixth princess." Chen Kai first stepped forward to say hello to Li Azure Emperor and Li Qingping. Although his cultivation was as high as the combined stage, he still needed to say hello when he saw Li Azure Emperor and Li Qingping in the Yuanwu kingdom where the Li family was in power. "Well, Brother Lu, this is Chen Kai, the senior executive of the Chen family, who manages the Tianyang Coliseum." Li Azure Emperor specifically reminded him, but Lu Juyuan didn't take it too seriously and turned to look at Chen Kai and asked, "Senior Chen, what do you want from me?" Hearing this, Chen Kai smiled first and then inquired, "I'm just a little curious about Lu Xiaoyu's identity. After all, there doesn't seem to be a big force named Lu in Yuanwu Kingdom." There was no way, if it wasn't for fear, I'm afraid Chen Kai would have been hard on him, and it was obvious that Lu Juyuan knew what he meant, so he smiled and said, "Senior Chen, you don't have to ask. My power is beyond your reach." Hearing this, despite Chen Qi's good temper, a trace of anger appeared on his face. "You must know that he is backed by the Chen family and cannot be touched by mysterious forces. Even the forces at the human immortal stage, he has a slight influence." Here. But when he thought that Lu Juyuan was someone that even Li Azure Emperor needed to respect, maybe the background behind him was actually the human immortal period. Thinking of this, Chen Kai took a deep breath and forced a smile on his face. "What Lu Xiaoyu said is that Lu Xiaoyu came to my Tianyang Coliseum as a guest, and I didn't receive it well. Here is 1 million top-quality spiritual stones. I just treated it as a meeting gift for you, and I invited you to go play somewhere else." After saying that, Chen Kai took out a storage ring and handed it to Lu Juyuan, but Lu Juyuan took it without hesitation, joking, "This is a bargain brought to your door, don't give it up." Li Azure Emperor was also a little surprised when he saw this. He originally thought that Lu Juyuan would refuse. After all, judging from the current situation, there is no monster in the Tianyang Coliseum that can resist Xiao Huang. 10 million top-quality spiritual stones and 1 million, I should be able to tell clearly which one is more important. But that's okay, after all, the Chen family's strength is not weak, so it's better not to provoke them if they can. What he didn't expect was that Lu Juyuan said seriously, "I accept Senior Chen's wishes, but I think this Tianyang Coliseum is still very good, so I still want to play here for a while." Hearing this, the smile on Chen Qi's face disappeared, while Li Azure Emperor and Li Qingping were stunned for a moment, but soon their faces turned red. Can't laugh, the two of them were holding back their laughter crazily, and the veins on Chen Qi's face were already visible to the naked eye. Chen Kai took a deep breath and said, suppressing the anger in his heart, "Young Master Lu, could you be making fun of me? You have accepted 1 million of the best spiritual stones. You must know that 1 million top-quality spiritual stones require him to pump water for a whole year to earn them. Now he only handed over 1 million in order to reduce the loss of 10 million, but Lu Juyuan actually wanted to turn his back on him. Really, do you think the Chen family has no face? I did accept it, but isn't this a meeting gift you gave me? I didn't promise you anything, right?" Lu Juyuan said innocently, and that innocent expression made Chen Qi's anger reach its peak at this time. "Little friend Lu, you have to find out clearly. This is the Tianyang Coliseum, and it is the territory of my Chen family. No one can make trouble here, not even the third prince." Chen Kai threatened. After hearing this, the expression on Li Azure Emperor's face became a little uncomfortable, but it was indeed the truth and he could only endure it. Lu Juyuan's face darkened after hearing this. "Senior Chen, can I understand that you are threatening me?" "It's not a threat, it's just that no one can cause trouble in our Tianyang Coliseum." Chen Kai said not to be outdone, and Lu Juyuan smiled instead of being angry. "Ha ha ha, okay, I didn't expect that I would receive such a threat the first time I came to Tianyang Coliseum, right? Thousand Ghost King, come out and teach him a lesson." As Lu Juyuan finished speaking, a black mist appeared in front of Lu Juyuan, and Chen Qi's expression also changed. What? There is actually a strong person protecting you in secret. When Chen Kai was about to do something, he was directly picked up by the Thousand Ghost King who appeared, and the terrifying power of the fusion stage was also imprisoned by the Thousand Ghost King. Young master, how should we deal with him? The Thousand Ghost King said calmly, looking at Chen Kai as if he were looking at a dead person. Ahem, spare my life. I am a member of the Chen family. If you dare to kill me, the Chen family will not let it go. In the face of absolute strength, Chen Kai finally felt scared and began to beg for mercy. However, Lu Juyuan was not a good person. If the other party dared to threaten him, he must pay the price. If that's the case, then let's abolish his cultivation. Lu Juyuan said calmly, by not killing him, it would be considered a great honor to the Chen family. Yes. After hearing this, Chen Qi's face changed and he looked extremely frightened, and then he was directly absorbed by the Thousand Ghost King's entire body. The whole person's breath also became weak, and soon it was about to be extinguished like a candle in the wind. Go away, if you threaten me again, you will be killed without mercy. Lu Juyuan snorted coldly, and Chen Qi's eyes were full of resentment at this time, but he didn't say anything. He just stared at Lu Juyuan and then left angrily. Brother Lu, if you do this, will there be any hidden dangers? After all, the Chen family is not someone who will just give up. Li Azure Emperor reminded at this time, his tone full of worry, while Lu Juyuan said nonchalantly. Brother Li, you should know that I am here just for the 10 million top-grade spiritual stones. The Chen family will never let me take away the 10 million top-grade spiritual stones. Therefore, from the beginning, between us the conflict between them is already doomed. Besides, it's just the Chen family. If they dare to come, it's not impossible to destroy them. Hearing this, Emperor Li Azure could only sigh. This matter was no longer something he could handle. He might as well tell his father. Ah, how dare he? After returning to his room, Chen Kai set up a restraint and said angrily, you must know that he has practiced hard for thousands of years before breaking through to the integration stage. Now he has failed. If he had not taken a life-saving pill in time, he would have died of old age long ago. I can only tell my family about this matter first. In any case, I have tried my best. Chen Kai took out the communication stone and told the Chen family about the situation here. After that, he quickly sat down and started practicing. The most important thing now is to make up for the lack of cultivation first. Fortunately, with his previous training experience, Chen Kai quickly successfully broke through to the peak of foundation building, but there were still some difficulties in breaking through to the gold core stage. Lu Juyuan on the other side quickly prepared for his next battle and successfully achieved the feat of 9 consecutive victories. In the Chen family, Chen Fengli, the head of the Chen family, has received the news from Chen Kai and gathered the senior officials of the Chen family. Chen Fengli said with a gloomy face. What do you think about this matter? Chen Fengli sat on the head of the family, looked at the elders and said, his cultivation in the late stage of transcending tribulation already showed extreme anger, and he could no longer suppress it. HMPH, what else can we do? They actually dared to destroy members of our Chen family. Even Li Xuanren doesn't dare to be so bold. An elder in the late stage of integration snorted and said. It was obvious that he did not take Lu Juyuan seriously, and many elders also raised objections. After all, the person who can let Li Azure Emperor treat him like this probably has an unusual background. And according to Chen Kai, he was deposed by a monk of the Transcending Tribulation stage. How can a monk of the Transcending Tribulation stage be deposed? Secretly protected, its background reaches at least the Mahayana stage. In any case, my Chen family will never be able to swallow this breath. It is said that the second son of the Shui family has been killed by the other party. If this is the case, then send someone to negotiate with the Shui family. If the two families put pressure on me, I will. If you don't believe me, what else can the other party do? Chen Fengli snorted coldly and said, it's just the background of Mahayana stage. It's not like he doesn't have it. His eldest daughter Chen Shuiyuan has been taken under the command of the elder of the Eighth Thunder sect. You must know that the Eighth Thunder sect has strong men in the Earth Immortal realm, and Chen Shuiyuan's master, Holy Thunder Taoist, has reached the Mahayana stage. Under such circumstances, what should he fear? Lu Juyuan on the other side didn't know that the Chen family was already planning to take action against him. Xiao Huang, end the battle as soon as possible, and then go back with the spirit stone. Lu Juyuan looked at Xiao Huang and urged, and naturally Chen Kai would not let go in the last battle, and arranged a dragon for Lu Juyuan. Although it was extremely difficult, Xiao Huang still won with difficulty. After Lu Juyuan achieved 10 consecutive victories, the gamblers present all stood up and roared excitedly. Holy crap, I read that right, there are actually people who can achieve 10 consecutive victories. Didn't the Chen family take action? This is a miracle. Anyway, I made a lot of money this time. Ha ha ha, let's go home for dinner. Many gamblers said with excitement that because they bet on Lu Juyuan to win, they won a lot of spiritual stones today, and the shock in Cheng Shui's eyes was self-evident. Master Lu, he is really becoming more and more mysterious. Brother Lu is so awesome. Senior sister, let's get to know Brother Lu later. Lin Yuren stood aside with eyes full of admiration. How could a girl not be pregnant with love? However, the time had not yet come. It was obvious that Lu Juyuan had become the object of admiration of many people at this time. Lu Juyuan didn't know it yet, but came to the referee and said with a smile on his face. As far as I know, if you can achieve 10 consecutive victories, you can receive 10 million top-quality spiritual stones at Tianyang Coliseum, right? At this time, the referee also knew what Lu Juyuan had caused, but due to Lu Juyuan's background, he could not do anything, otherwise he would not be the only one to die. Well, we have already registered your information here. Just go to the front desk to get it. The referee said with a dark face, while Lu Juyuan waved his hand. Thank you, Xiao Huang, let's go. After saying that, he jumped off the ring directly, and Xiao Huang quickly followed after seeing this. The moment Lu Juyuan came down, a group of girls gathered around him. They were joking. Lu Juyuan was now a piece of cake in their eyes. If they didn't get started now, how could they wait? Lu Juyuan frowned slightly when he saw this. It was obvious that he didn't like this kind of scene very much. Li Azure Emperor, who suddenly appeared, gently spread his pressure and stopped all the girls in front of Lu Juyuan, outside. Brother Lu, you have become a favorite in the eyes of many people. Li Azure Emperor joked. Lu Juyuan just smiled bitterly. Brother Li, you are making fun of me. With your status and appearance, if you want it, you will be far better than I am now. That's true, Li Azure Emperor said as if there was something serious, while Li Qingping came to Lu Juyuan and said happily. Juyuan, you are so awesome. What is so mysterious about Xiao Huang? Why can't I see it? Li Qingping looked at Xiao Huang who was lazily on one side and asked with some curiosity on his face. I think Xiao Huang must have white tiger blood. Lu Juyuan thought of what Yi Chengqing had said before. Although his voice was very low, he still noticed it. What? White tiger bloodline? Li Azure Emperor and Li Qingping looked shocked when they heard this. You must know that white tiger is one of the 4 divine beasts. Under normal circumstances, when white tiger reaches adulthood, it will reach a terrifying existence comparable to the Earth Immortal stage, and some even break through to the Immortal King. The terrifying existence of Immortal Sovereign. And now Lu Juyuan told them that the ordinary Xiao Huang actually had the blood of white tiger. Who could accept it? Yes, although there is only a trace, it is enough to make it difficult for Xiao Huang to meet his opponents at the same level. Lu Juyuan said seriously, while Li Qingping hugged Xiao Huang, and the smile on her face disappeared. I didn't expect that you actually have white tiger blood. I really hope to see you grow up. HMPH. Xiao Huang, who was in Li Qingping's arms, hummed twice in response. After wasting a lot of time in the Tianyang Coliseum, Lu Juyuan was also a little tired. Let's go back first and then talk about it. You, the Shui family, probably can't swallow this breath either. At this time in the Shui family, the eldest elder of the Chen family said expressionlessly, and he came to the Shui family to discuss cooperation with the Shui family. Well, so what do you mean? Shui Chengjiang sat opposite the elder of the Chen family and said calmly that the anger in his heart had calmed down after losing his son for so long. With our 2 families joining forces, even the royal family can't protect that kid. Moreover, you should also know that I, Miss Chen, have become a disciple of the elder of the 8th Thunder sect. If the other party dares to take action, the 8th Thunder sect will also. I won't sit idly by. The elder of the Chen family snorted coldly and said that at this time, he had the absolute confidence to let the Shui family join forces. Although the Chen family could not let the 8th Thunder sect send strong men, if the Chen family encountered a life-and-death crisis, Chen Shuiyuan would not look at it. He sat idly by while the Chen family was being wiped out. Hearing the words of the elder of the Chen family, a trace of fear flashed across Shui Chengjiang's face. After all, the 8th Thunder sect was an absolute behemoth in their eyes. Then he thought of his son's tragic death, and soon a trace of hatred and determination flashed across Shui Chengjiang's face. Okay, then when the time comes that I and you, the head of the Chen family, will take action together, I don't believe that the boy can still be protected by the monks from the Mahayana stage. Okay, it's settled. A smile also flashed across the face of the eldest elder of the Chen family. Obviously, he attaches great importance to the dignity of the family. It would be great to kill that kid, especially if he joins forces with the Shui family, even if I don't dare to protect that kid easily. In addition, Lu Juyuan on the other side didn't know that the Chen family and the Shui family had decided to take action against him. At this time, he had already returned to Qingshan Garden with Xiao Huang. Brother Li, are you sure you don't want to go in and have a couple of drinks? Lu Juyuan invited warmly, while Li Azure Emperor smiled and shook his head. No, I've had an enlightenment recently, so I'll go back and refine it first. Lu Juyuan's spicy rabbit head in Tianyang Coliseum made him realize a lot, but he hasn't fully digested it yet. Is this like this? Then don't bother Brother Li. Lu Juyuan did not stop him when he heard this, but Li Qingping said with some reluctance. Juyuan, goodbye. Well, see you soon. After Lu Juyuan said this, he was about to turn around and go in, but at this time, Li Azure Emperor thought of something and stopped Lu Juyuan. By the way, there will be an auction at Tianling Auction House in 7 days. Is Brother Lu interested? Hearing this, Lu Juyuan looked a little curious, because he didn't know much about Tianling Auction House. Of course I'm interested, but I don't know much about Tianling Auction House. I wonder if Brother Li can shed some light on it. Hearing this, Li Azure Emperor's eyes couldn't help but widen, and his tone was full of disbelief. Brother Lu, are you kidding me? You don't even know about Tianling Auction House. But then I thought about Lu Juyuan's previous performance. It seemed that it was normal. After thinking for a while, Li Azure Emperor decided to explain, and from Li Azure Emperor's words, Lu Juyuan finally learned what the Tianling Auction House was. There is a most powerful person in every dojo, and the most powerful person will take the name of dojo. Tianling Auction House is the property of Tianling Taoist, the strongest person in Tianling State, and Tianling Taoist is the most powerful man with a cultivation level as high as the Golden Immortal Peak. Naturally, no one in Tianling Auction House under him dares to make trouble. And relying on the strong strength of Tianling Taoist, Tianling Auction House has naturally become the largest auction house in the entire Tianling State. Naturally, there is a branch of Tianling Auction House in Yuanwu Kingdom, and in the near future, Tianling Auction House will hold an auction. After thinking of Lu Juyuan, Li Azure Emperor took advantage of the situation and sent out an invitation. Is this like this? Let's go together, but I don't think I have much time in these 7 days, because I have to break through to the peak of foundation building. Lu Juyuan said with a serious face, and after hearing his words, Li Azure Emperor's eyes widened with disbelief in his eyes. How can anyone break through so fast? You must know that even if you break through a small realm during the foundation building period, it will take several months. And from Li Qingping's mouth, Li Azure Emperor also learned that Lu Juyuan seemed to be immortal before. In just 1 month, no, less than a month, he entered the foundation building stage from immortal, and he is about to break through the foundation building stage now. Peak. Can you believe this? After hearing this, Li Qingping's eyes flashed with a sense of urgency. She felt that the gap between herself and Lu Juyuan was getting farther and farther. If she didn't work hard, she might not even be able to see Lu Juyuan's back. In that case, let's see you in 7 days, Brother Lu, take care. After Li Azure Emperor and Li Qingping said goodbye, Li Azure Emperor disappeared with Li Qingping. Xiao Huang, let's go home. Lu Juyuan looked at Xiao Huang with a smile, then turned around and walked towards Qingshan Garden. Lin Zhiling saw him at the door. Master, Lin Zhiling said respectfully that during this period of time, she had taken care of everything in Qingshan Garden. Well, what happened to Ao Tian during this time? Lu Juyuan nodded with a cold expression and turned to ask about Long Aoshan. After all, the time in Tianyang Coliseum was very short, but more than 2 days had passed. It's okay, Aoshan has been practicing during this time. After hesitating for a moment, Lin Zhiling said with a strange expression, because Aoshan had been sleeping in his own nest during this time. Well, I understand. After Lu Juyuan said that, he took Xiao Huang and walked towards Long Aoshan's den. When he saw Xiao Huang at Lu Juyuan's feet, Lin Zhiling's face flashed with curiosity. Obviously, he didn't expect that Lu Juyuan would actually bring back a little native dog, but after thinking about it carefully, it seems that Lu Juyuan would not do anything strange. Maybe there is something inside this little native dog. On the other hand, Lu Juyuan didn't care about this. He quickly led Xiao Huang to a huge nest. Before he even got close to the nest, he heard a roar. Hearing this voice, Lu Juyuan frowned slightly, and then looked around. He quickly picked up a stone, picked it up casually, and threw it towards Long Aoshan. Who disturbed my dream? Long Aoshan, who was sleeping, was hit on the head by a sudden stone, and said angrily. When he was about to give his attacker a lesson, he saw that it was his master who attacked him, and the anger on his face was on his face. It turned into flattery in a second. Boss, you haven't come back for so long, I miss you so much. The moment Long Aoshan stood up, Xiao Wangdun, who was standing next to Lu Juyuan, could no longer calm down. His grandma, how could there be a real dragon? It seems that his master has a very good relationship with the real dragon, or maybe the real dragon is his master's slave mount. At this time, when Long Aoshan finished speaking, he was also attracted by Xiao Huang at Lu Juyuan's feet, and a trace of surprise could not help but appear on his face. Noticing Long Aoshan's surprise, Lu Juyuan also asked curiously. I bought this little native dog accidentally. Aoshan, can you tell where Xiao Huang comes from? Hearing Lu Juyuan's words, Long Aoshan couldn't help but show a trace of surprise on his face, and then said sincerely. Boss is indeed a man of great luck. You can buy monsters with the blood of mythical beasts at any time. If I read it correctly, Xiao Huang has a trace of white tiger blood in his body. Naturally, there is some kind of special connection between mythical beasts, and the moment Long Aoshan saw Xiao Huang, he felt the trace of white tiger blood in Xiao Huang's body. After hearing Long Aoshan's words, Lu Juyuan was not too surprised. After all, he had heard about the white tiger bloodline from Yi Chengqing before. But considering that these two guys are both mythical beasts, maybe it would be better to let them play together. In that case, Xiao Huang, just stay with Aoshan. Under Aoshan's leadership, you will probably grow up soon. Hearing Lu Juyuan's words, Xiao Huang suddenly lost his composure. What kind of international joke were you kidding? This is a real dragon. If you let yourself follow him, wouldn't you be courting death? There is not much difference in strength between the bloodline of divine beasts at the same level, but the problem is that his bloodline is just a trace, while Long Aoshan has a complete true dragon bloodline. Thinking of this, Xiao Huang suddenly struggled crazily, but his struggle was considered too exciting in Lu Juyuan's eyes, so he said with a smile. Xiao Huang, it seems that you are very happy. Aoshan, Xiao Huang will be left to you. Please don't bully Xiao Huang. Lu Juyuan looked at Long Aoshan and explained seriously, while Long Aoshan showed a meaningful smile. Boss, don't worry, I will definitely treat Xiao Huang well, you say so, Xiao Huang. As if feeling his tragic fate, Xiao Huang's struggle became even more crazy. Okay, Xiao Huang, don't get too excited. I'm going to be in seclusion during this period to reach the peak of foundation building. You two, just stay calm. After Lu Juyuan said that, he turned around and left, leaving so resolutely. Only Xiao Huang was left howling helplessly, but the howling sounded so miserable. Tisk, 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 the master is indeed a man of great luck. He is about to reach the peak of foundation building in such a short period of time. When Long Aoshan saw Lu Juyuan's leaving figure, he couldn't help but shook his head and said, you know that he is a real dragon, why does he feel that his breakthrough speed is far slower than Lu Juyuan's? After Lu Juyuan left, Long Aotian looked at Xiao Huang, who was shivering. Okay, little one, I have no interest in you. The master is a big boss. Don't make the master angry, otherwise even I won't be able to save you. After Long Aotian said that, he curled up and continued to refine dragon blood, but at this time, Xiao Huang was already stunned. He originally thought that Long Aotian would kill him. After all, the White Tiger clan and the True Dragon clan had never dealt with each other, and they would always face death or injury when they met. And seeing the weak security forces around him, Xiao Huang couldn't help but have the idea of escape. After all, he and Lu Juyuan did not sign a spiritual pet treaty. If he escaped, even Lu Juyuan would not be able to find him. When he was in the wild, he grew the fastest. Thinking of this, Xiao Huang couldn't help but move slightly, but Long Aotian's voice stopped him. If you want to die, you can go out and have a look, I don't mind killing you. Hearing Long Aotian's threatening words, Xiao Huang could only huddle down next to the dragon's nest with a humble look on his face, and began to practice. After seeing that Xiao Huang didn't do anything, Long Aotian began to refine the dragon's blood with peace of mind. Although Xiao Huang wanted to practice, he was affected by the huge movement caused by Long Aotian's training, and the whole dog also unable to fall into the state of cultivation, he could only stare at Long Aotian with a look of resentment. On the other side, Lu Juyuan came to the retreat room in Qingshan Garden after leaving. He saw Lu Juyuan casually taking out hundreds of top-quality spiritual stones and embedding them into the grooves of the retreat room. Suddenly, a burst of rich spiritual energy appeared, spread out in the retreat room. These auras should be enough for me to break through to the peak of foundation building. If that's the case, let's start to hit the peak of foundation building. Lu Juyuan said with satisfaction, and then he sat down cross-legged and began to absorb the surrounding spiritual energy, and his whole body was constantly wandering back and forth between illusion and solidification. The Thousand Ghost King outside the retreat room was also full of smiles after seeing this scene. After all, judging from the current situation, Lu Juyuan's future achievements will definitely far exceed theirs. Even becoming a human immortal stage power is definitely not impossible, and as Lu Juyuan's bodyguard, I only need to protect Lu Juyuan's safety. When Lu Juyuan grows up, I may have a chance to break through to the Mahayana stage. You know, that's the Mahayana stage. The lifespan of the transcending tribulation stage is only 1,000,000 years, but when you reach the Mahayana stage, you can be called an immortal, and your lifespan reaches tens of millions of years. And even more terrifying power will be transformed from spiritual energy into immortal energy, and its strength is far beyond that of monks in the transcending tribulation stage. The law in the immortal cultivation world is that 100 monks at the peak of transcending tribulation may not be an opponent at the early stage of Mahayana, which is enough to explain the gap between the two. It seems that I am the one who has reached a higher level this time. The Thousand Ghost King shook his head, and then hid in the void again, secretly protecting Lu Juyuan's safety. At this time, in the Tianling auction house, the auction house has begun to make arrangements for the next auction. Sir, the invitations for this auction have been sent out. In the Tianling auction house, the strong man in charge of the auction said respectfully, and in front of him stood an upright-looking being. It is Qin Yuan, the president of Yuanwuguo branch of Tianling auction house, whose cultivation has reached the terrifying level of Mahayana stage. Well, has anything happened in Yuanwu Kingdom recently? Qin Yuan looked at his subordinates and asked calmly. Yes, the wandering demon sect has been destroyed. After hearing what his subordinates said, Qin Yuan couldn't help but frown slightly. You must know that the strength of the surrounding demon sect is definitely not too low, and the strength of the Demon King has reached the peak of transcending tribulation. Could it be that the powerful ones from Mahayana stage took action? Do you know who did it? Qin Yuan asked curiously. He simply wanted to make friends with the strong men who destroyed the wandering demon sect. He said with a bitter look on his hands. This is unknown. The Yumo sect was destroyed by a mysterious strongman with one blow. By the time the other forces discovered it, the other party's traces had disappeared. Although Qin Yuan felt a little pity when he heard this, he also thought it was reasonable. After all, Mahayana stage experts have always been extremely low-key. Is there anything else? Yes, the Chen family and the Shui family seem to have united recently to take action against a mysterious young man. The power of Tianling Auction House in Yuanwu Kingdom is naturally not low. It is no exaggeration to say that Tianling Auction House can even change the dynasty of Yuanwu Kingdom. Naturally, the alliance between the Chen family and the Shui family cannot be hidden from Tianling Auction House. Oh, these two families actually joined forces to deal with a young man. What happened? What is the origin of that young man? Qin Yuan said with some surprise that the Shui family was nothing, but he had to pay attention to the Chen family. After all, he had heard about Chen Shuiyuan joining the Eight Thunder sect. And soon Qin Yuan learned from his subordinates what Lu Juyuan had done, and was shocked for a moment. He killed Shui Chenyang, deposed Chen Kai, and then won tens of millions from the Tianyang Colosseum. Spiritual stone. Any one of them released will definitely be regarded as shocking to a large number of people, let alone 3. But when talking about Lu Juyuan's origin, his subordinates shook their heads and did not investigate Lu Juyuan's origin. All of this is naturally attributed to Li Xuanren. Li Xuanren knew that Lu Juyuan was a low-key person, so he deliberately helped him erase the traces of the Lu family. Is this like this? That boy is probably in the capital now. If that's the case, then send him an invitation letter as well. Qin Yuan thought for a while and ordered. As a high-level person, he can naturally see a lot of things. Since Lu Juyuan can let the Chen family and the Shui family join forces, the power behind it will definitely not be too low. At least there is a statue. The power at the pinnacle of transcending tribulation. After hearing the words, his subordinates retreated, while Qin Yuan came to the window, looked at the prosperous country outside and couldn't help but shook his head. Judging from the current situation, it won't be long before Yuanwu Kingdom will be shaken again. I'm just curious, what is the origin of that boy? There seems to be no force named Lu in Yuanwu Kingdom. Could it be a force outside of Yuanwu Kingdom? To be able to receive warm hospitality from Emperor Li Azure, Lu Juyuan would have to have at least a being as powerful as Li Xuanren standing behind him. Or should we say, is it the Mahayana stage? But no matter what, I still need to get to know him, and it would be great if I could get to know him. When the men on the other side sent the invitation to Qingshan Garden, Lu Juyuan happened to be in retreat, and it was Lin Zhiling who accepted the invitation. Invitation to Tianling Auction, Lin Zhiling said with some disbelief. As a monk at the peak of Gold Core, she naturally knew what the Tianling auction represented. It is no exaggeration to say that even the weakest branch has to verify at least 10,000 top-quality spiritual stones to enter, or receive an invitation letter from Tianling Auction House. Otherwise, even the powerful ones in the transcending tribulation stage will never be able to enter. But now the head of the family has actually been invited, and it seems that the head of the family has no reputation in the Yuanwu Kingdom. Why did he get the invitation letter? It's just that the texture in your hands is truly authentic. Well, Lu Juyuan himself will go to Tianling Auction House in 4 days to attend the auction on time. The envoy who came said that and left. This scene made Lin Zhiling feel a little envious. Even the cultivation level of an envoy who came has reached the nascent soul stage, which shows the strength of Tianling Auction House. After accepting the invitation, Lin Zhiling looked at the retreat room to the side with a troubled expression. Lu Juyuan had told her before that no matter what happened while he was in seclusion, she was not allowed to interfere with him. Thinking of this, Lin Zhiling's heart began to war between heaven and man. But in the end, I chose to give up. After all, nothing is more important than the family leader's breakthrough. On the other side, Lu Juyuan has reached the most critical moment when he reaches the peak of foundation building. At this time, Lu Juyuan's body was densely covered with mysterious Dao patterns. As the Dao patterns solidified, it meant that Lu Juyuan's breakthrough was about to be completed. What appeared on Lu Juyuan's body were ancient Dao patterns. Dao patterns are usually located on Dao foundation. And because Lu Juyuan refined his body into Dao foundation, the position where Dao patterns appeared was naturally on his skin. Long Aoshan on the other side was still in a deep sleep, but he was awakened by a terrifying pressure the next second. Is this the pressure of blood? What kind of terrifying existence is it? Long Aoshan's face was full of solemnity after feeling it, and he had already been awakened. Xiao Huang's condition was naturally not much better. He was so frightened by the terrifying pressure that he was trembling on the ground. I couldn't understand why I kept encountering such horrible things after coming to the Lu family. At the same time, this coercion swept through the entire Qingshan garden and was still spreading in all directions. The Thousand Ghost King, who was in the void, felt the pressure for the first time and directly stopped him. He looked towards the retreat room with a look of shock on his face. Young master, are you really breaking through to the peak of Foundation establishment? Why does this pressure feel more terrifying than breaking through to the soul formation stage? Thousand Ghost King's heart was filled with shock. You must know that even when he broke through to the soul formation stage, his pressure was only like this, but Lu Juyuan only broke through to the peak of Foundation establishment. Lu Juyuan on the other side didn't know that he had caused such a big commotion just by breaking through a small realm. At this time, he was still hitting the peak of his foundation building with all his strength. During these 3 days, Thousand Ghost King helped Lu Juyuan to continuously resist the pressure of his breakthrough to prevent the situation here from being leaked. In the retreat room, the Dao patterns on Lu Juyuan's body have gradually solidified, and terrifying visions can even be seen from it. Boom! As bursts of roaring sounds came out, the Dao patterns on Lu Juyuan's body finally advanced, from ancient Dao patterns to chaos Dao patterns. It's just that at this time, Lu Juyuan didn't know that he had changed. The grade of the Taoist pattern from low to high is from 9th grade to 1st grade. Above the 1st grade, there is the Immortal Grade Taoist pattern. The Immortal Grade Taoist pattern is divided into 4 grades: upper, middle, lower and top. In addition, there is the Ancient Dao mark above the Immortal Grade Dao pattern, and above the Ancient Dao pattern, there is the Hongmeng Dao pattern, and above the Hongmeng Dao pattern is the Chaos Dao pattern. The Dao marks usually represent the strength that a strong person in the Foundation establishment realm can exert. Unsurprisingly, Lu Juyuan, who possesses the Chaos Dao marks, has reached his limit in the Foundation establishment realm. Although Lu Juyuan was only at the peak of Foundation building at this time, his true strength might not be his first-hand enemy even at the peak of Gold Core. Ha! Shu Chong, get out of seclusion. Lu Juyuan opened his eyes, and the terrifying chaotic Dao lines on his skin disappeared under his skin. Otherwise, Lu Juyuan would have been captured and studied before he could even use his passive skills. After saying that, Lu Juyuan stood up and looked outside. 7 days have passed, and it's time to go to the auction. Lu Juyuan murmured, 7 days fleeting in his perception. Without hesitation, Lu Juyuan pushed the door open and walked out. The faces of Thousand Ghost King and others outside had already become extremely solemn. Long Aoshan came to Lu Juyuan as soon as he pushed the door open. Master, what level of monster are you? Even I am not your opponent now. Long Aoshan groped around Lu Juyuan's body for a while. He already knew at this time that although he was in the middle stage of Gold Core, he would definitely not be Lu Juyuan's opponent. After all, when Lu Juyuan was still at the peak of Qi refining, he could beat himself at the peak of Foundation building. Although he was still a dragon at the time, the gap between him and Lu Juyuan is still shrinking. He didn't believe that he could tie with Lu Juyuan just by becoming a real dragon. You want to know? Come practice with me. Lu Juyuan looked at Long Aoshan with a malicious look on his face and said, and Long Aoshan's head shook into waves after hearing this. No, I am no match for you, boss. Sorry, it's not up to you. After Lu Juyuan said that, he disappeared. The moment Lu Juyuan disappeared, Long Aoshan broke out in cold sweat. It was the feeling of death. Holy shit, boss, are you serious? Long Aoshan was startled and could only quickly parry, but in front of Lu Juyuan, how could he have the strength to fight back? Lu Juyuan blew Long Aoshan away with just one punch. Boss, you are so cruel. Long Aoshan's voice resounded throughout the world, and then disappeared into the sky. Seeing this scene, Xiaohuang waggled his tail happily, while Thousand Ghost King's face had long lost the surprise, and he said he was used to it. When Lu Juyuan broke through the peak of Foundation building, he could exert the pressure to break through to the soul formation stage level. He knew that Lu Juyuan's strength at this time could never be compared with the ordinary peak of Foundation building. But Thousand Ghost King was still a little curious. Young master, what is the level of your Taoist pattern? Xiaohuang also cast a curious look. Lu Juyuan just shook his head. The next second, lines appeared on his right hand. Seeing this scene, even the Thousand Ghost King, who was used to being shocked, couldn't help but widen his eyes, his tone full of disbelief. Wait a minute, what the hell happened when the Taoist pattern appeared directly? Also, why didn't I know about this level of Taoist pattern? Let's not say that Lu Juyuan doesn't know the grade of Tao marks, but can Lu Juyuan directly surface Tao marks on his body? Is it possible that Lu Juyuan refined himself into Tao marks? With Lu Juyuan's evil talent, that doesn't seem to be impossible. Let's talk about the Tao pattern. You must know that even immortal grade Tao pattern has not been seen before, and he himself is a first grade Tao pattern, and his own strength is also extremely powerful. It's not like he has never seen the Tao marks of the immortal level before, and in Lu Juyuan's case, could it be that they were ancient Tao marks? Not necessarily. If he thinks about Lu Juyuan's situation, it might be the Hongmeng Tao marks. You must know that every terrifying existence that has forged the Hongmeng Tao pattern has at least reached the Immortal King stage. In other words, Lu Juyuan will definitely become the Immortal King in the future. Thinking of this, the Thousand Ghost King felt more and more that his decision was the right one. Lu Juyuan had to know that by becoming the Immortal King, would he be able to deprive himself of the benefits. According to my own estimation, I can at least break through to the human immortal stage. After Lu Juyuan disappeared the Tao pattern, Long Aotian flew back from the sky with a resentful look on his face. His expression was like that of a wronged little daughter-in-law. Okay, don't pretend to be like this anymore, I know I can't hurt you with the punch I just gave. Lu Juyuan said with a straight man's air. He had only used 1/10 of his strength just now, but if he couldn't hurt Long Aotian, it was the kind of situation where the thunder was loud and the rain was small. Although he knew it, Long Aotian still had a resentful expression on his face. I knew Lin Zhiling was here. Ji Ling, what's the matter? Lu Juyuan asked curiously, and Lin Zhiling finally breathed a sigh of relief after seeing Lu Juyuan finally come out of seclusion, and then respectfully handed an invitation letter to Lu Juyuan's hand. Master, while you were in seclusion, someone from the Tianling auction house sent you an invitation. Thinking that Lu Juyuan might not know Tianling auction house, Lin Zhiling immediately prepared to introduce Tianling auction house to Lu Juyuan. After Lu Juyuan received the invitation, his face was a little surprised. Oh, I originally planned to follow Brother Li and the others in, but I didn't expect that Tianling auction house actually sent me an invitation. This saves me a lot of trouble. Hearing Lu Juyuan's words, Lin Zhiling suddenly realized that the head of the family had already planned to go to the Tianling auction. Fortunately, he did not disturb the head of the family's retreat. But at this moment, a voice came from the side. Brother Lu, are you out of seclusion? It seems that Brother Lu has successfully reached the peak of foundation building. The gold core Great Tao is just around the corner. Li Azure Emperor's eyes were full of admiration. You must know that even he spent almost a year cultivating to the peak of foundation building. Compared with Lu Juyuan, he felt like a waste. Oh, I didn't expect that I would reach the peak of foundation building so quickly just by practicing casually. Lu Juyuan sighed and said immediately. These low-key words made Li Azure Emperor's lips twitch. What's going on with this tone that makes people want to be beaten? But now that the Tianling auction is about to start, he has no time to talk nonsense with Lu Juyuan. Brother Lu should be ready. The Tianling auction is about to begin. Let's go. After Emperor Li Azure said this, Lu Juyuan nodded, but then he thought of something and took out an invitation letter from his body. By the way, I don't know why someone from Tianling auction house sent me an invitation letter. Hearing that Lu Juyuanju had received the invitation letter, Li Azure Emperor was also surprised and said with some surprise. The invitation letter to Tianling auction is difficult to get, especially for you, Brother Lu. However, with the strength behind Tianling auction house, it is estimated that the events of the past few days have been investigated clearly, so I gave it to Lu brother. It's not an exaggeration to send you an invitation. After all, what Lu Juyuan has done in the past few days has provoked the two top forces of Yuanwu Kingdom. As long as the people at Tianling auction house are better informed, they will naturally be able to investigate Lu Juyuan's information. As for sending the invitation letter, it was probably because of Lu Juyuan's strong background. Is that so? Let's go over there. It looks like the auction will start in an hour. Looking at the time on the invitation, the auction started in an hour. After hearing Lu Juyuan's words, Li Azure Emperor led Lu Juyuan towards the location of Tianling auction house. On the way, Lu Juyuan asked curiously, Brother Li, why don't you see Qingping? Tell me, that girl Qingping, she received the blessings you gave her at the Tianyang Colosseum, and now she still needs to digest that experience. Li Azure Emperor said without hesitation that in the Tianyang Colosseum that day, after Li Qingping ate a soft bone rabbit leg carefully cooked by Lu Juyuan, although she broke through to the peak of foundation building, her own combat power did not break through to the normal level. The strength of the peak of foundation building was so great that she was still refining that understanding in the royal family at this time. Hearing Li Azure Emperor's words, Lu Juyuan was also a little surprised. Did the spicy rabbit head he made at random have such a big effect? Then why didn't he use it? What Lu Juyuan didn't expect was that he was a person blessed by heaven, and he was extremely lucky. How could the food he cooked carefully go anywhere? Outside the Tianling auction house at this time, many people were seen queuing up at the entrance of the Tianling auction house. After all, every Tianling auction will have many rare treasures, and there are even many naturally. Many people came to participate in the extremely rare natural treasure. And soon, under the leadership of Li Azure Emperor, the two arrived in front of the Tianliang auction house. However, when they landed, an unfriendly sound came from the side. Isn't this the third prince? Why is he bringing a waste with him at the peak of foundation establishment? Hearing this voice, Li Azure Emperor's brows couldn't help but frown, and Lu Juyuan turned around and saw that the owner of the voice in front of him was a young man. Noticing the expression on Lu Juyuan's face, Li Azure Emperor said through his spiritual consciousness. Brother Lu, this is Shui Chenyang's brother, Shui Chenshin, who was killed by you earlier. His cultivation is in the early stage of refining the void. Speaking of this, Li Azure Emperor couldn't help but have a trace of fear on his face. Although they are both in the early stage of Shifeng refining, the difference is that it took him more than 500 years to break through to the early stage of Shifeng refining, while Shui Chenshin is only over 200 years old now, and his talent is much stronger than him. Oh, who do I think you are? It turns out to be the brother of that dead ladyboy. Do you know that your brother is a dead ladyboy? Or is it that your brother turned into a ladyboy because you have some ulterior motives? Secret. Since you have a female brother, you shouldn't be able to go anywhere easily. Let me check, are you as good as Long Yang? Lu Juyuan pretended to realize that he was actually an enemy. After hearing Lu Juyuan's words, Shui Chenshin's face became gloomy. The moment Lu Juyuan spoke, he knew that the person in front of him was the culprit who killed his brother. He wanted to take action, but he thought that if he took action, the consequences would not be very good. After all, his younger brother had been killed by the elders who protected him in the fusion stage, so he did not have the confidence to fight against the powerful in the fusion stage. Thinking of this, Shui Chenshin sneered and said, Boy, you are very arrogant. You are the first person who dares to talk to me like this. We have a long way to go. We'll see. After saying that, Shui Chenshin showed his invitation letter and entered directly. Shui Chenshin did not take action, which made Lu Juyuan feel a little disappointed. He originally thought that he would provoke Shui Chenshin to take action, and then let the Thousand Ghost King kill him. Nothing else, just because it looks more upright. At this time, Emperor Li Azure was also impressed by Lu Juyuan's arrogance and couldn't help but give a thumbs up. Brother Lu, you are good, but I guess that guy Shui Chenshin is here for something, and he will probably come after you later. It's okay. If he dares to challenge me again, I don't mind letting him know what it means to use all his savings to challenge my pocket money. Lu Juyuan said with a serious face. At this time, he did not mention the 11 million top-quality spiritual stones he had obtained in the Tianyang Colosseum. Before coming to the capital, the immortal ancestor gave him 100 million. The best spiritual stone, let yourself be more generous, and don't live the hard days of the past anymore. Hearing Lu Juyuan's words, Li Azure Emperor couldn't help but twitch the corners of his mouth, but he couldn't refute it and quickly looked towards the entrance. Let's go. If you don't go in, you'll be late. Chapter 51. It's interesting. I didn't expect that the people at Tianling Auction House know how to do things, and they actually arranged for us to be together. Lu Juyuan said with some surprise, and near him was Li Azure Emperor's box. Only those with noble status could arrange the box. Most of them sat below, leaning against others. However, Lu Juyuan did not choose to come to his box. After all, With Li Azure Emperor, he could also let Li Azure Emperor explain it to him. The private rooms of Tianling Auction House are also decorated with a unique flavor. This place is protected by a special formation. Even the strong ones in the integration stage cannot detect the situation inside. Li Azure Emperor explained, after all, private rooms are provided, so privacy must be taken seriously. Wouldn't it be embarrassing if the distinguished guests inside wanted to do something they loved and were discovered? Oh, Lu Juyuan nodded thoughtfully, and as he spoke, the two of them came to the window of the box, just in time to see everything outside. There are nearly 10,000 seats in the auction house, and behind the seats, there are 100 private rooms, which are used to entertain guests of different levels. Lu Juyuan, on the other hand, stood by the window, constantly looking at the guests who were entering the venue. The time also deduced little by little, and soon it was time for the auction to begin. What Lu Juyuan didn't expect was that in a box not far away from him, he saw a pair of women. Who else could it be if it wasn't Cheng Shui and Lin Yuren? But at this time, Cheng Shui had already broken through to the middle stage of foundation building, and Lin Yuren had also broken through to the foundation stage. The two of them originally came to Yuanwu country not only for the Qingfeng secret realm, but also for the Tianling auction. With their status as masters, it was not impossible to get a seat in the box. Judging from the somewhat excited expressions of the two, this should be their first time attending the auction. But after a moment, Lin Yuren suddenly thought of something and said thoughtfully, "Senior sister, do you think Mr. Lu will come to participate in this auction?" After hearing Lin Yuren's words, the expression on Cheng Shui's face also changed, and after thinking for a while, she said, "With his status, coming to participate in the auction is naturally not a problem. I just don't know if he will come." When they were at Tianyang Coliseum, the two of them naturally knew that Lu Juyuan was in the capital, but they just didn't know if Lu Juyuan would come to participate in the auction. When the two of them were thinking wildly, they didn't know that Lu Juyuan was not far away from them, looking at the auction stage, and saw a woman slowly walking up. And with her appearance, the photographers present became excited. Bai Susu. The woman was seen smiling, waving her hands and saying, "Welcome to all of you to participate in this Tianling auction. I am the auctioneer Bai Susu. This time I will introduce to you all the auction items. Without further ado, let us introduce the first auction item." Bai Susu smiled and waved her hand, and the next second someone from Tianling Auction House came up with a plate covered with red cloth. It can actually block divine consciousness. Lu Juyuan probed the plate with his consciousness, but was surprised to find that his consciousness could not detect the contents. You must know that although Lu Juyuan is now at the pinnacle of foundation building, thanks to his rich heritage, Lu Juyuan's spiritual consciousness is not at the peak of the gold core. He can even detect things within a radius of 5 kilometers, but he can't even break through a piece of red cloth. Open. Hearing Lu Juyuan's words, Li Azure Emperor said with a smile, "Brother Lu doesn't know anything. This piece of red cloth is called the Heaven Sealing Spiritual Cloth, and a strong person has placed restrictions on it. Even the strong men of the Mahayana stage will never be able to detect the contents inside through the Heaven Sealing Spiritual Cloth. Firstly, it is to maintain a sense of mystery, and secondly, it is to maintain the dignity of Tianling Auction House. The auctioneers all know what is being auctioned before they reveal the items. Isn't that very shameful?" After hearing this, Lu Juyuan suddenly realized, and then looked at the filming stage again. As the plate was brought to Bai Susu neatly took off the spiritual cloth that covered the sky, and then introduced. The first item on the auction block is the heavenly low-grade spirit sword. It was made by Taoist, the Thousand Hammer Master. It is definitely the most powerful weapon even among the heavenly low-grade. The starting price is 1 million low-grade spiritual stones, and each increase in price must not be less than 100,000 low-grade spiritual stones. Following Bai Susu's introduction, the photographers below suddenly became excited. "Oh my God, is it the legendary Taoist with 1,000 hammers who even forged the immortal weapon? If so, then it is necessary to take a picture of this long sword. Everyone, I am a sword cultivator, can you let me do it? Go away, you are not the only swordsman here." The bidders below suddenly increased their bids like crazy, from 1 million at the beginning to hundreds of millions of low-grade spiritual stones in a short period of time, and it hasn't stopped yet. Brother Lu, don't you want to get involved? Li Azure Emperor noticed Lu Juyuan's expression and asked curiously. He was a little moved, but he knew that the final price of this weapon should be around 1 million high-grade spiritual stones. With this amount, even if it's hard to take it out. Forget it, I'm not interested. Lu Juyuan shook his head and said that although he was good at swords, he still didn't like this weapon. In addition, he could feel that there was something behind him that was destined to him. Maybe it would be better later. Li Azure Emperor nodded when he heard this. Indeed, if you don't have enough cultivation, you won't be able to exert the true power of the low-grade spirit sword. Just like immortal, even if you get the divine weapon, you may not be able to kill the immortal Emperor, because he was unable to unleash the true power of divine weapon. Lu Juyuan was a little interested in the auction items that appeared one after another later, but he did not take any pictures because his ancestors seemed to have quite a lot of these items. Isn't it because that guy has no money? He didn't even take any photos. Shui Chenshin was sitting in a box not far away, thinking gloomily. His box was box number 5, while the boxes of Lu Juyuan and Li Azure Emperor were box 2. He naturally noticed this. Box number 1 was reserved exclusively for Qin Yuan. Let's ignore that kid for now. The most important thing now is that thing. If I guess correctly, it will probably come out soon. Shui Chenshin took a deep breath to calm down, and then looked at the shooting stage again. It is no exaggeration to say that he came here just for this one thing today, and the rest was not important at all. And it was not only the Shui family who knew the news, but also those in box number 9. This time we have prepared 50 million of the best spiritual stones. We must get that thing in our hands. The eldest elder of the Chen family was in the box, looking at the stage with a serious face. Of course, these two forces were not the only ones who knew about that thing. Heihuan sect, as a famous fifth-rate force in the vicinity, its sect leader has a realm that is not inferior to that of King Li. This time, a great elder in the middle stage of transcending tribulation was sent out for that thing. Sword Immortal sect, Tyrant sect, and most of the nearby fifth-rate forces sent strong men to participate in the bidding, but Lu Juyuan didn't know it yet. And soon, after a middle-grade mirror-breaking pill was auctioned for 5 million top-quality spiritual stones, Bai Susu's face became serious. As the messenger came up with the plate, Bai Susu slowly explained. The next auction item is a ruins map of an unknown level. As Bai Susu finished speaking, all the forces present couldn't help but stand up. Obviously, this is what they came for. This map was accidentally acquired by our Tianling auction house. What it corresponds to is the remains left by a strong person of unknown level. According to our estimation, at the end, it was also left by a strong person of the transcending tribulation stage. Relics. Quote. As Bai Susu finished speaking, the photographers below suddenly became excited. You must know that it is a transcending tribulation stage, with a lifespan of millions of years, and the divine ability of the spells it can cast is tens of millions. According to our requirements, the starting price for this map is 100,000 top-grade spiritual stones, and each increase in price must not be less than 100,000 top-grade spiritual stones. Bai Susu also announced the starting price this time, which made most of the monks stop. After all, judging from the situation, the final price must be extremely exaggerated. Auction begins. Bai Susu gave the order, and soon some people couldn't sit still. I'll give you 1 million. A voice came from box number 15. It sounded soft and soft. It should be the voice of a woman, but her bidding price was lowered in just a few seconds. I am a member of the Wang family. If you give Wang Tang some face, I will pay 5 million. A domineering voice came from box number 10, and as this voice came out, the photographers below couldn't help but be shocked. Oh my god, it's actually the Wang family. Hiss, and it's Wang Tang. It is said that he is only 1,000 years old this year, and he has broken through to the transcending tribulation stage and is known as the posture of the great emperor. Forget it, let's give the Wang family some face. As Wang Tang finished speaking, many forces gave up their thoughts of competing. After all, judging from Wang Tang's current talent, even Celestial Immortal was not impossible. But there is always someone who is not afraid of Wang Tang, and that is naturally Shui Chenshin. Wang Tang, are you very powerful? How do you compare with me, Shui Chenshin? I'll bid 10 million. Shui Chenshin said with a cold snort. As Shui Chenshin's bidding price appeared, Wang Teng's face suddenly turned gloomy in box number 10, who was dressed in gold. He has also heard of Shui Chenshin. He has good talent, but compared to himself, he is far behind. After all, he was only 200 years old when he broke through to the early stage of void refining. Boy, there are some people you can't afford to offend. 15 million. Wang Teng snorted coldly, and then increased the price and said that the things in this ruins are very important to him. Oh, how fun is that? Then I'll step in and give you 20 million. At this time, the eldest elder of the Chen family did not hesitate to increase the price and said, considering the background, the eldest lady of their Chen family has joined the Eighth Thunder sect, who will they be short of? 20 million. It's a bit low, I'll give it 30 million. At this moment, a rough voice came from box number 15, and after hearing this voice, many people present had a look of fear on their faces. Don't you, the tyrant sect, not like to get involved in this kind of thing? Why do you still want to join in? Wang Teng said with an ugly face, the people of the tyrant sect are just a bunch of lunatics, everyone is a fighting maniac, and they are either on the way to fight or fighting every day, so few people want to deal with the tyrant sect. Only the Yuanwu kingdom chose to have a good relationship with the Batian sect in order to deal with the Yumo sect. HMPH, why do I, the tyrant sect, need to explain to you what I do? It's just to keep my Taoist mind stable. In box number 15, there was a muscular man sitting in it, and he was none other than the great elder of tyrant sect, Pang Tian. And next to Pang Tian, there was a thin figure sitting. If Lu Juyuan were here, he would definitely recognize it. It was Li Tai. Hey, interesting. Lu Juyuan, who was originally calm, felt something and looked at the ruins map with some surprise. Emperor Li Azure naturally noticed it and asked curiously, Brother Lu, are you interested? Well, it's a bit fate, so let's take a picture. Lu Juyuan said with a smile, and then raised the sign. I bid 50 million. And with Lu Juyuan's bid, the powerful people present were shocked and became a little suspicious. Where did this person come from to actually bid as much as 50 million? Naturally, Shui Chenshin recognized Lu Juyuan's voice immediately, but his face could not help but darken. Obviously, he did not expect that Lu Juyuan would produce so many spiritual stones. How come this kid has so many spiritual stones? Shui Chenshin thought gloomily, but the most important thing right now is to get the ruins map, because according to the secret report from their Shui family, the ruins map was most likely left by a Mahayana stage monk before his death, and even more it may be the key to obtaining the inheritance of that Mahayana stage monk. If the inheritance of a Mahayana stage can be achieved, the Shui family will probably be able to give birth to a Mahayana stage monk soon. Naturally, the other forces also knew the news, so they started fighting over a ruins map with an unknown level, but they didn't expect that Lu Juyuan would get involved. When it comes to spiritual stones, Lu Juyuan is certainly worthy of it. He currently has 110 million top-quality spiritual stones in his body. Even if he throws them all in, it won't hurt at all. That's naturally because he trusts his own judgment. He can feel that the ruins map can bring him great rewards. This is the benefit of top luck. If you feel something in your heart, it will naturally come true. What is the origin of this kid? Pang Tian, who was grumpy at the same time, couldn't help but darken his face after hearing Lu Juyuan's quotation, while Li Tai, who was sitting next to him, said in surprise. Could it be Brother Lu? After being together for many days, he naturally recognized Lu Juyuan's voice, but then he thought, Lu Juyuan has no talent for cultivating immortals, how could he appear here? He is probably still in the princess's mansion now. Humph, who are you? My king has spared 70 million, how about you please do something extra? Wang Teng snorted coldly and said, hoping that the other party would give him a face. After all, he now also needs the things inside to help him quickly break through to the Mahayana stage. Wang Teng originally thought that the other party would give him face, but he did not expect that Lu Juyuan would not accept him at all. Just kidding, is there anyone in the entire Emperor Zan continent who is worthy of giving him face? Not at all. Oh, are you very powerful? But what does this have to do with me? What if I don't give you face? I'll bid 100 million spiritual stones. Ha ha ha, okay, if you are like this, then I won't say anything. You'd better be careful. Tianling auction house will not protect you for the rest of your life. Wang Tang snorted coldly and stopped bidding. 100 million top-quality spiritual stones was not something he could come up with. Even the entire Wang family would have to spend a huge price to come up with it. Naturally, the other forces could not produce so many spiritual stones, and naturally they all held grudges against Lu Juyuan. It was a pity that none of their forces had the existence of Mahayana stage, so they naturally could not touch Lu Juyuan's passivity. Once in 100 million. Twice 100 million. 3 times 100 million. Let us congratulate the guest in box 2 for taking a picture of this ruins map of unknown grade. This auction has ended. All guests are welcome to participate. Bai Susu felt a little disappointed in her heart, but she still said with a smile. Obviously she thought that the ruins map should be worth more than this price, but she couldn't stand the final decision in the auction house. HMPH, this kid has probably become a favorite in the eyes of many people. I hope he can survive later. Shui Chenshin snorted coldly and said with a gloomy face. Lu Juyuan took pictures of the ruins map with such great fanfare today, and even took out 100 million of the best spiritual stones. I am afraid that many people will wait for the opportunity to take action. Naturally, he was no exception and passed the news here back to his family. The same is true for many forces. If a well-known force takes away the ruins map, they will naturally be willing to do so. But if an unknown person obtains such a precious thing, there will only be one end, and that is death. But Lu Juyuan was not afraid at all. He was still in the box at this time, and Li Azure Emperor said with some worry. Brother Lu, judging from your situation today, I'm afraid you've been targeted by many people. Do you really want to be more careful? After all, you still need to know the truth of not exposing your wealth, but Lu Juyuan just shook his head. No, of course I know this, but if they dare to come, I will definitely make them come back. Lu Juyuan shook his head, his face full of confidence. Even if the power at the peak of transcending tribulation came, he was not afraid at all, just because he had a pardon from the immortal ancestor on his body. As long as you cast it by yourself, you can summon the incarnation of the immortal ancestor. If it is powerful, it will not be a problem to instantly kill Mahayana in the later stage. However, Lu Juyuan thought of something and asked curiously. But I'm curious, didn't your Li family send someone to auction this ruins map? I don't know about this. Maybe other families have special information. Even when Li Azure Emperor said it, he felt a little disbelieving, but it was indeed the case. The Li family had not received any news at all, and he only found out about it when he came here. But after being photographed by Lu Juyuan, he naturally wouldn't rob him because he wasn't sure whether the 1000-ghost king hiding in the dark would kill him instantly. At this time, the door to the room also opened, and only a figure appeared outside the door. After seeing that figure, Li Azure Emperor's eyes couldn't help but be shocked, but he quickly reacted and treated him respectfully. The ground bowed. I've met Senior Qin. Get up, you are Li Shuangren's third son, I have seen you before. Qin Yuan smiled and shook his head and said, and then looked at Lu Juyuan, his face became serious. He could feel that Lu Juyuan was not simple, and at the same time he could feel the 1000-ghost king hidden in the void. If I guess correctly, it should be your family that destroyed the Yumo sect, little friend. Qin Yuan smiled and said, while Lu Juyuan was confused in his heart. After all, he had not received the news yet, but from Qin Yuan's words, he could also know that the Yumo sect had been destroyed. It must have been the ancestor of Chengsheng who took action. Thinking of this, Lu Juyuan said with neither humility nor arrogance. If nothing else happens, that should be it. After hearing Lu Juyuan's words, Qin Yuan's smile became even bigger and he said immediately. It's not convenient to talk here, please, little friend. I saw Lu Juyuan and others sitting in an elegant room of Tianling auction house. As for Li Azure Emperor, he was standing behind Lu Juyuan. After all, the person opposite is Qin Yuan. Even his father would respectfully call out to him when he saw Qin Yuan. If he sat down in front of Qin Yuan, wouldn't the seniority become chaotic? But Lu Juyuan didn't care about this. It was Qin Yuan who invited him anyway, and he sat directly opposite Qin Yuan. And Qin Yuan didn't care about this, but said lightly, "Come out, King of 1000 Ghosts. I didn't expect you to become someone else's guard." After Qin Yuan said that, He saw a burst of black mist emerging behind Lu Juyuan in the next second, and the figure of the Thousand Ghost King was in it. Although he knew that Lu Juyuan had a bodyguard secretly, the Azure Emperor was a little surprised when he saw it. After all, he did not expect that he was actually the Thousand Ghost King. As the third prince, he naturally knows about the existence of the Thousand Ghost King. It is no exaggeration to say that the Thousand Ghost King is powerful enough to destroy a fifth-rate force. I've met Senior Qin. The Thousand Ghost King did not become arrogant just because he fought against the Lu family. He still bowed respectfully to Lu Juyuan. Qin Yuan just looked at the Thousand Ghost King for a moment, then shook his head and stopped worrying. He turned to look at Lu Juyuan on the other side and asked curiously. Speaking of which, I don't think I've heard of any big influence with the surname Lu near Yuanwu Kingdom. Do you know the origin of little friend Lu? It's not an important matter anyway. Lu Juyuan just smiled and shook his head. It's not that I have a shady identity. It's just that my Lu family has been hiding from the public in Qingfeng town. It's normal for outsiders to rarely know about our Lu family. After hearing the Lu family from Lu Juyuan's mouth, Qin Yuan quickly thought of a face in his heart. Lu Chengsheng was born out of thin air a few years ago, used the peak of transcending tribulation to conquer the early days of Mahayana, and then disappeared. Thinking of this, Qin Yuan asked tentatively. Lu Chengsheng is the elder in Lu Xiaoyu's family. Hearing Qin Yuan's words, Lu Juyuan was slightly startled. Qin Yuan actually knew about his ancestor, but he still smiled and said. Exactly. Oh, that's it. I also heard about the deeds of the immortal fellow Taoist in my early years. I'm afraid there are only a few people who can defeat the early stage of Mahayana at the peak of transcending tribulation. Qin Yuan said sincerely, but then he thought of something and looked at Lu Juyuan with a serious expression. Little friend Lu, you must have taken a photo of the map of the ruins, right? I'm afraid there will be many people targeting you. The Thousand Ghost King alone may not be able to stop so many people. I don't know if you need my help. Woolen cloth. After all, as the president, he naturally knew that many people were eyeing this ruins map, but he didn't know who spread the news about it. Lu Juyuan just shook his head and then asked thoughtfully. Senior Qin, there is no need to worry about this, but I am very curious, why would your auction house put such a precious thing up for auction? Lu Juyuan believed in his intuition. This thing was not necessarily a relic of the Mahayana stage. It should at least be above the Mahayana stage. Otherwise, he would not have such a strong feeling. What about this? We really can't tell. And according to the auctioneer, he has no destiny. Qin Yuan said with a wry smile on his face. After all, he couldn't see the mystery. The person sent for auction was just a mortal. But for some reason, Qin Yuan could feel that there was a vague threat in the other party. Coupled with the rules set by Tianling Auction House, he did not ask too much and did not participate in the auction. Is it like this? Lu Juyuan murmured thoughtfully, but he didn't think too much about it. Indeed, if there is no immortal fate, it is better to exchange for a life of glory and wealth. It is just 100 million top-grade spiritual stones. I don't know if the other party can eat them. Down. It's getting late, so we'll leave first. Lu Juyuan looked at the time and found that it was getting late, so he stood up and excused himself, while Qin Yuan smiled and said immediately. Well, if I have time, I will pay a visit to the Lu family. Then I'll be waiting for Senior Qin to come. After Lu Juyuan said that, he left with the Azure Emperor and others. It was only after they left that Qin Yuan's expression became solemn and he couldn't help but murmur. It turns out to be Senior Lu. In that case, it's really time to pay him a visit. However, no one expected that Qin Yuan had received help from Lu Chengsheng many years ago. At that time, he was just a monk in the early stage of transcending tribulation, while Lu Chengsheng had broken through to the later stage of transcending tribulation. During the trial in the Heavenly Demon Mountain Range, he encountered a monster that was in the middle stage of transcending tribulation. At the critical moment of life and death, Lu Chengsheng took action and killed the monster, and he was able to survive. Now after learning the news about Lu Chengsheng, Qin Yuan naturally had the idea of visiting Lu Chengsheng, and also thought that Lu Juyuan might be in danger after many people were eyeing the map. After thinking that Lu Juyuan was the descendant of Lu Chengsheng fellow Taoist, Qin Yuan followed him secretly in order to protect Lu Juyuan's stability. Of course, Lu Juyuan didn't know about this scene. At this time, he was taking Li Azure Emperor to the door of Tianling auction house, while the Thousand Ghost King hid in the void again, secretly protecting Lu Juyuan. At the same time, in the Chen family, the elder of the Chen family had already passed the news back to the Chen family, and Chen Fengli said without hesitation after hearing the news. The map of the ruins is extremely important. For the sake of safety, I will go there myself. After saying that, Chen Fengli disappeared from the Chen family hall and rushed towards the Tianling auction house. Naturally, many forces with ulterior motives also sent people to seize the ruins map. There are many forces such as the Heihuan sect among them, and Lu Juyuan naturally does not know about this matter, but even if he knows, he will never take it to heart. As long as they don't send out strong men who have surpassed the Mahayana stage realm, then I have nothing to fear. After arriving at Tianling auction house, Li Azure Emperor looked at Lu Juyuan with surprise. I didn't expect that brother Lu, the ancestor of your family, is Senior Lu Changsheng. Oh, you also know my ancestor? Lu Juyuan said with some surprise. Obviously, he did not expect that so many people in Yuanwu Kingdom knew his ancestor. That's natural. Senior Changsheng was one of the best in the world at the beginning. After all, there are only a few monks who can counterattack the early Mahayana at the peak of transcending tribulation. From Li Azure Emperor's mouth, Lu Juyuan also learned about the glorious history of his ancestor. What surprised him was why he had never heard of it before. At the same time, he couldn't help but give a thumbs up to the system's power. By the way, Brother Lu, now that you have obtained the map of the ruins, when do you plan to explore it, Brother Lu? Before leaving, Li Azure Emperor asked curiously, but then he thought of something and quickly explained. Brother Lu, don't get me wrong. I'm just curious. I don't have any ideas. Lu Juyuan didn't care so much, but thought about it and then said. I don't know this. After all, I don't know where this ruins map is. If you search randomly, you will not find anything. It is better to follow fate. When fate comes, you will naturally find it. Lu Juyuan's words also made Li Azure Emperor nod. Indeed, I don't know which ruin this map belongs to. But something came to mind, Li Azure Emperor reminded. I guess you won't get anywhere safely on your way back. After all, there are many people watching you, so be careful, Brother Lu. Lu Juyuan naturally knew this, and he said with a proud look on his face. If they dare to come, I don't mind letting them destroy the family. After all, with the background in hand, who can compete with him? Emperor Li Azure could only sigh when he saw this, and then said goodbye and flew back towards the palace. Lu Juyuan, on the other hand, looked to the side in the void. Qiongui, if anyone takes action, they will be killed without mercy. Yes. The King of Thousand Ghosts naturally knew what would be waiting for him, but he believed that the master must have left a trick on Lu Juyuan and he only needed to show off. Soon, Lu Juyuan flew back towards the location of Qingshan Garden. And as Lu Juyuan left, countless forces also took notice of the situation and ambushed him wherever Lu Juyuan must pass. Lu Juyuan said that he felt something was wrong on the way home. Jing Jing was really too quiet, and even with his top luck, he could feel something. So he stopped halfway without hesitation and saw Lu Juyuan with his hands behind his back and said calmly. Everyone, stop hiding and come out. A group of strong men hidden in the void couldn't help but be stunned after hearing Lu Juyuan's words. Did this guy really find them or was he deceiving them? But I thought that this place is already a little far away from the capital, and they have also set up restrictions here. Even the strong ones at the peak of transcending tribulation cannot sense everything here. In addition, they came here for the ruins map, so naturally they would not choose to hide anymore. The next second, a rough voice was heard from one side. Ha ha ha, kid, hand over the map of the ruins and I can save your life. I saw a figure with terrifying muscles all over his body slowly walking out of the void, and he was Peng Tian of the Tyrant sect. After careful consideration, Peng Tian chose to take action. After all, the ruins map is so important that even he would find it difficult not to be moved by it. Oh, which force are you from? Lu Juyuan looked at Peng Tian in front of him and asked curiously, while Peng Tian said with a domineering look. I am the great elder of the Tyrant sect, Peng Tian. As long as you hand over the map of the ruins to us, our tyrant sect can protect your safety. Of course, we will not ask for it in vain. We can give you 80 million, the best spiritual stone. Hearing Pang Tian's words, Lu Juyuan just smiled and shook his head, and then said, "Everyone here, please come out. There should be more than just this few people." As Lu Juyuan's words fell again, countless powerful figures emerged from the void. The great elder of Heihuan sect is happy. Taoist, please hand over the map of the ruins. I can accept you as my direct disciple. The Chen family is here to take my little friend's life, so please hand it over. Shui family, please get on your way, little friend. Wang Tang of the Wang family, I want to make friends with my little friend. I wonder if my little friend can give me the map of the ruins. I saw that among the many forces, except for the Chen family and the Shui family, they basically wanted to take Lu Juyuan under their command. After all, Lu Juyuan could produce so many spiritual stones, and his background was probably not that simple, so he could not offend him. Nature is the best. Oh, but I heard that someone wants my life. How about this? You kill those two guys who want my life, and I will give you the map of the ruins. Lu Juyuan pretended to be scared and said, and upon hearing this, the strong men present became excited and looked at Chen Fengli and Shui Changzhong. After seeing this scene, Chen Fengli and Shui Changzhong's faces darkened and they couldn't help but said angrily, "Can't you see that? This kid is just borrowing a knife to kill someone." Shui Changzhong's words suddenly caused them to fall into deep thought. It seemed that this was really the truth. The next second, Wanshi Taoist couldn't help but stand up. "That's right, can't you see it? This is a plan to kill someone with a borrowed knife." But he didn't expect Wanshi Taoist to be close to Shui Changzhong at this time. When Shui Changzhong thought Wanshi Taoist was one of his own, he saw Wanshi Taoist slap his backhand. "What?" Shui Changzhong's face was gloomy, but he also followed up with a palm strike. However, Wanshi Taoist was obviously prepared. Shui Changzhong failed to block the fight and was knocked back dozens of meters by the palm. "What's going on with you guy?" Shui Changzhong said with a gloomy expression, while Wanshi Taoist said with slumped shoulders, "Oh, there is no way. Although I am a little tempted, what if what he said is true? After all, if I kill you, there will be fewer competitors." When Taoist said this, something strange flashed in his eyes, but before Chen Fengli could react, Chen Fengli felt a sharp feeling coming from his back. "What?" Chen Fengli said in disbelief, and then turned around and punched him, but he was still knocked away by the punch. It was Pang Tian who shot. "I'm sorry, I think that boy should give it to me, so you two get on your way." Pang Tian said with some embarrassment that if he, who was practicing body training, got close to Chen Fengli, it would be Chen Fengli's death. "Brother Shui, let's join forces." Chen Fengli looked at Shui Changzhong, who looked aside and said without hesitation. After all, there were more than a dozen late-stage transcending tribulation figures present. Although Chen Fengli was slightly stronger, he was only at the peak of transcending tribulation. With so many late-stage transcending tribulation figures, we still don't know who will win and who will lose if we join forces. Shui Changzhong nodded gloomily, and as the two of them joined forces, more than a dozen transcending tribulation stage monks present also took action. More than a dozen transcending tribulation stage experts immediately started fighting. When Lu Juyuan saw this, he took out a stool from the storage ring, sat down and started eating melon and watching the show. On the other side, facing the joint siege of more than a dozen transcending tribulation stage experts, even Chen Fengli, who had broken through to the peak of transcending tribulation, felt extremely uncomfortable. He couldn't help but said angrily, "You guys, haven't you noticed? This guy is just playing tricks on you." Although they knew it was a scam, they still willingly threw themselves into the battle against Chen Fengli. After all, no one could guarantee that what Lu Juyuan said was false. What if Lu Juyuan really gives it? And another point is that by eliminating Chen Fengli, they will have one less powerful opponent. After a few minutes of melee, Chen Fengli's body was covered with numerous injuries. Thanks to the strong vitality of the transcending tribulation stage master, these injuries were nothing as long as he was not killed instantly. Shui Changzhong on the other side was even more embarrassed. His left hand was cut off by Wanshi Taoist at some point, and the situation became even more difficult. "That's enough. My daughter's master is an elder of the 8th Thunder sect. If you want to kill me, aren't you afraid of the 8th Thunder sect's revenge? After hearing Chen Fengli's words, the transcending tribulation stage experts present could not help but stop, while Shui Chengjiang looked a little excited. After all, the experts from the 8th Thunder sect did not allow Chen Fengli to use the name of the 8th Thunder sect casually. No, but now that Chen Fengli is facing life and death, will the 8th Thunder sect ignore it? After seeing all the transcending tribulation stage experts present stop, Chen Fengli took out a shadow transmission stone without any hesitation and channeled his power into it. At the same time, in the endless sky, endless thunder and lightning were constantly raging in the dark clouds, but no one expected that there was an extremely huge continent floating in the clouds. And this is where the 8th Thunder sect is located, living in Leyun, so it is called the 8th Thunder sect. On top of a mountain in the 8th Thunder sect, a girl was seen practicing sword skills against strong thunder. With each move of the girl, powerful thunder and lightning were swung out. This is exactly the symbol of the disciples of the 8th Thunder sect. Not far away from the girl, an old man with flowing white hair was watching the girl's practicing posture and couldn't help but shake his head. The girl is Chen Shuiyuan, and the old man on the side is the elder of the 8th Thunder sect, a strong man in the late Mahayana period. After the girl finished practicing the Holy Thunder sword technique, Holy Thunder Taoist slowly walked up to Chen Shuiyuan. Shuiyuan, you are upset. Holy Thunder Taoist couldn't help but shook his head and said, and after seeing the arrival of the master, Chen Shuiyuan bowed respectfully. Master, I don't know why, but when I was practicing the Holy Thunder sword technique, I always had an uneasy feeling in my heart, as if something bad was about to happen. Chen Shuiyuan frowned and felt uneasy, while Holy Thunder Taoist was a little surprised. After all, immortal cultivators believed in their inner feelings, not to mention that Chen Shuiyuan had now broken through to the void refining stage, so naturally this feeling would not be groundless. At this moment, Chen Shuiyuan felt something. She took out a stone from the storage ring, and saw a force bursting out from it. The next second, Chen Shuiyuan saw the Yuanwu kingdom through the image transmission stone. Things over there. On the other side, after seeing his daughter, Chen Fengli no longer cared about his own face and said with a miserable look on his face. Daughter, your father and I are being bullied now. Some people don't take our Chen family seriously. Naturally, Chen Shuiyuan would not believe her father's words. After looking around, it seemed that her father had indeed been bullied. Thinking of this, Chen Shuiyuan's face became a little gloomy. When she was about to say something, she was stopped by the Holy Thunder Taoist. And I saw Holy Thunder Taoist speaking lightly. Everyone, fellow Chen Taoist is a friend of our Ba Lei sect. Please give me some respect and don't mess around. Otherwise, I will definitely come to visit you one by one. The words of Holy Thunder Taoist unsurprisingly made the faces of the transcending tribulation stage experts present look fearful. After all, they could not underestimate the behemoth of the 8th Thunder sect. Wanshi Taoist was the first to stand up, and when he saw Wanshi Taoist said with a smile. Since it was Senior Sheng Lei who said it, I will naturally give you face if I am happy. See you again when we are destined. Having said that, Taoist was happy to leave, and the rest of the transcending tribulation stage experts were also preparing to say goodbye. After all, Holy Thunder Taoist had already spoken, so naturally they would not be looking for trouble anymore. In front of the 8th Thunder sect, let alone them, even if they were the masters of their forces, they were unable to resist at all. As long as the Holy Thunder Taoist takes action, they will all be destroyed, because the Holy Thunder Taoist is a strong man at the peak of Mahayana. When facing a fifth-rate force like them, they can all be destroyed without using all their strength. Although Pang Tian is a body-refining cultivator, he is not a reckless person. When he saw the 8th Thunder sect taking action, he was looking for trouble and left immediately. But at this time, Lu Juyuan stood up. Hey, I said I didn't let you leave. Lu Juyuan stood up and said calmly, you are joking. You have offended this young master and you still want to leave. You are joking. Among them, Pang Tian himself might give Xiao Tai some face and would not kill him, while the rest would all die. After hearing Lu Juyuan's words, the faces of the transcending tribulation stage monks present could not help but darken. They were giving face to the Holy Thunder Taoist, not to giving you face as a weak foundation builder. Oh, boy, you are very brave. Aren't you afraid of death? Pang Tian also became a little interested at this time and couldn't help but say, while Lu Juyuan just shook his head, then looked at them and said lightly. Today, everyone present will die. Ha ha ha, boy, you are so brave, fellow Taoist Chen, how about you let me kill him, I don't want anything on him. Under this stimulation, Wanshi Taoist naturally couldn't sit still, stood up and snorted coldly. Chen Fengli naturally wouldn't care. Casual. After getting Chen Fengli's consent, the happy Taoist disappeared in an instant and came to Lu Juyuan in the blink of an eye. Lu Juyuan looked like he was frightened and didn't react at all. Jia, boy, remember this, don't seek death again in your next life. Wanshi Taoist sneered, and just when Wanshi Taoist was about to kill Lu Juyuan, he only heard a sigh coming from his mouth. Everyone, give me some face. The next second, a figure appeared in front of Lu Juyuan. He blocked Wanshi Taoist's attack with just one hand. At this time, after everyone saw the appearance of the person who took action, they couldn't help but be shocked. Hiss, it's Senior Chin. Tisk, 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 now we have something good to watch. Senior Chin is also moved. The person standing in front of Lu Juyuan was Qin Yuan. After Lu Juyuan left, Qin Yuan followed Lu Juyuan secretly, hoping to save Lu Juyuan's life at the critical moment. But he didn't expect that so many people would take action. I'm sorry, Senior Qin, but Tianling Auction House seems to have regulations not to interfere in the struggles of other forces. After seeing that it was Qin Yuan, Wanshi Taoist was shocked and apologized repeatedly. Then he remembered something and asked curiously. Qin Yuan's face was slightly gloomy, and then he said lightly. What, do I need to explain to you what I do? Don't dare. Wanshi Taoist has long been a human spirit, so he naturally heard that Qin Yuan was angry, so he kept saying. HMPH, I am very optimistic about this guy. Give me some face and leave. Qin Yuan said lightly, wanting to rely on his own Mahayana stage cultivation to make them disperse, and Wanshi Taoist and others naturally could only swallow this breath, but there was one person among them who was not afraid of Qin Yuan, then it's Chen Fengli. Senior Qin, it's not that I don't give you face, it's just that this son has repeatedly insulted my Tianyang Coliseum, and also destroyed Chen Kai of my Chen family. I can't take revenge for this. Chen Fengli said in a neither humble nor arrogant tone. Qin Yuan was about to get angry when he saw this, but he never thought that Chen Shuiyuan's face would darken when she heard that Chen Kai was abolished. Father, is third uncle okay? It's okay. Fortunately, I saved my life. Chen Fengli shook his head and said. At this time, Qin Yuan noticed the Holy Thunder Taoist on the side, and his face became ugly. He could suppress the ordinary transcending tribulation stage monks, but he could not suppress the Holy Thunder Taoist at the peak of Mahayana. Can't hold it down. Qin Yuan was about to say something, but Taoist, the Holy Thunder, stood up at this time. Qin fellow Taoist, this matter is beyond your control. Just retreat. After seeing the Holy Thunder Taoist stand up, Chen Fengli felt even more proud. As a gifted genius with middle-grade talent, Chen Shuiyuan also possesses a heaven-level physique, yin-lei body. When practicing the thunder system skills it is even more handy, so the Holy Thunder Taoist naturally needs to take more care of it. Qin Yuan also planned to bring out Lu Juyuan's background and ask Holy Thunder Taoist to be careful, but was stopped by Lu Juyuan. Senior Qin, thank you for your kindness, but leave all the rest to me. My words are still the same, that is, anyone who takes action today will die. Lu Juyuan said calmly, but when Qin Yuan was about to tell him to be careful, he saw his expression. What kind of expression was that? Indifferent, fearless, and even with a hint of joking. After thinking that his ancestor was an immortal senior, Qin Yuan smiled. How could Senior Chengsheng not leave some means to his descendants? Moreover, given Lu Juyuan's talent, he also arranged for the protection of the Thousand Ghost King. Qin Yuan would not believe it if he said that he had no trump cards. Thinking of this, Qin Yuan warned him seriously. If that's the case, then be careful. After saying that, Qin Yuan got out of the way, but none of the transcending tribulation stage experts present did not leave. Instead, they looked at Lu Juyuan with a playful expression. They all wanted to see how Lu Juyuan died. Only Pang Tian had a trace of respect for Lu Juyuan, but he also knew that unless Lu Juyuan's background was not afraid of the Eight Thunder sect, he would be doomed today. After Qin Yuan got out of the way, Chen Fengli snorted and said, "Boy, when you destroyed the people of my Chen family, you should have thought of what is happening today. So, next, you should go on my way." After Chen Fengli said that, he took action the next second, but what he didn't expect was that Lu Juyuan would also take action next. Facing Chen Fengli's attack, Lu Juyuan did not panic at all. His calm expression made Chen Fengli feel a little uneasy for some reason. But then he thought about it, with the Holy Thunder Taoist behind him, could Lu Juyuan still be able to counterattack? Is it a success? In just an instant, Chen Fengli arrived in front of Lu Juyuan, and immediately tried to kill Lu Juyuan with one blow, but he never expected that his attack was blocked by an invisible barrier when it landed in front of Lu Juyuan. What? Chen Fengli felt something and said with disbelief, and the next second, a golden light burst out from Lu Juyuan's body. Chen Fengli quickly retreated, arriving 1 kilometer away from Lu Juyuan in just 1 second. After seeing this scene, all the Transcending Tribulation stage experts had a look of horror on their faces, and they all wanted to escape. However, in the next second, an invisible force burst out from Lu Juyuan's body, covering 100 miles radius. The space is all locked up. How is it possible? Break it open for me. Joyful Taoist felt the existence of the barrier, and struck out without hesitation in the next second, but there was not even the slightest reaction on the barrier. At the same time, in Qingfeng town, Lu Changsheng, who was in retreat, suddenly opened his eyes and said angrily on his face, "Who dares to take action against me, a descendant of the Lu family?" This angry voice spread throughout Qingfeng town, and the people in Qingfeng town who heard this voice couldn't help but become curious. Who was so short-sighted that he actually provoked the Lu family? After all, from the current situation it seems that they all already know that the strength of the Lu family has probably surpassed Yuanwu kingdom long ago. The reason why they stay in Qingfeng town is probably just because the ancestral land of the Lu family is here. After receiving the news, Lu Zan quickly came to Lu Changsheng and asked with a slightly gloomy face, "Ancestor, who took action against me, Juyuan?" As he spoke, Lu Zan's state did not know when he broke through to the middle stage of Yuanying. After all, at the beginning, his state was only in the early stage of Yuanying. With the help of Lu Changsheng, he broke through to the middle stage of Yuanying in such a short time. Not surprising. I don't know, but Juyuan has my Dharma pardon on his body, just let me take over. Lu Changsheng said with a cold snort, his body filled with surging murderous intent. The next second, Lu Changsheng immediately sat down cross-legged, and his entire consciousness was connected to the Dharma pardon on Lu Juyuan. Lu Zan said with murderous intent, "No matter who dares to attack someone from my Lu family, they will be killed without mercy." How is it possible that this child actually has a Mahayana Dharma pardon in his body? Holy Thunder Taoist can clearly feel that there is a Mahayana Dharma pardon in Lu Juyuan's body. You must know that Dharma pardon can only be retained by monks above the Mahayana stage, and it also requires monks with profound attainments above the Mahayana stage to achieve it. After seeing this scene, Qin Yuan's face showed a true expression. Since he had the pardon from his senior, he felt relieved. However, he also felt a little surprised. After all, even he himself could not condense the Dharma pardon for the time being. Only monks above the middle stage of Mahayana could condense it. In other words, the immortal fellow Taoist has broken through to a state above the middle stage of Mahayana. However, considering that Lu Changsheng's realm back then was higher than his own, it was acceptable. Next, he would have to find time to visit Senior Lu. At the same time, in just a few seconds, the golden light on Lu Juyuan flew into the sky above Lu Juyuan, and instantly transformed into a huge figure, which was Lu Changsheng's true form. Each method of amnesty requires great effort from the creator, and after the creation is completed, it can be transformed into an incarnation that is a level lower than itself, and the soul of the creator can also control the incarnation in person. Lu Changsheng opened his eyes and said with anger in his eyes, "Who is it? You dare to attack me, the genius of the Lu family?" After saying that, the terrifying coercion swept out of Lu Changsheng, making the monks present feel nervous. After feeling Lu Changsheng's pressure, Qin Yuan's expression of shock became even worse, and he couldn't help but murmur. How is it possible that this coercion has at least reached the late stage of Mahayana? In other words, Senior Lu has broken through to the peak of Mahayana. In his early years, Qin Yuan had seen the figure of the monks in the late stage of Mahayana. Naturally, he could clearly feel that this pressure had reached at least the peak of Mahayana, and at the same time he couldn't help but smile bitterly. Back then, the difference between him and Senior Lu was only 2 small realms. Didn't you expect that they are now 3 small realms apart? Senior Lu is indeed gifted. Qin Yuan was so shocked that he couldn't help himself, let alone the other transcending tribulation stage experts. They were all trembling with fear, and Shui Changzhong's face was even more ugly, because this meant that his second son, I'm afraid the revenge will never be avenged. As for what Chen Fengli said, although the expression on his face was ugly, he didn't pay much attention to it. After all, with the Holy Thunder Taoist here, he didn't believe that the person in front of him dared to take action against him. The Eighth Thunder sect is a third-rate force that is feared by people with a radius of hundreds of light years. Among them, the powerful Earth Immortal is even more terrifying. With a wave of his hand, he can annihilate the entire space with a radius of trillions of kilometers, which shows how powerful it is. But Lu Juyuan didn't care about this, and he didn't believe it. From the beginning, the Eighth Thunder sect directly sent out the Earth Immortal realm experts to attack them. As long as he was given 1 day, all problems would be solved. Ancestor, these people are planning to steal the ruins map I took. Everyone is taking action. Lu Juyuan said calmly, and when Lu Juyuan finished speaking, Chen Fengli stood up. Senior, I think there may be some misunderstandings between us. I apologize to you. In addition, my daughter has become the direct disciple of the elder of the Eighth Thunder sect. Let's let this matter go. Chen Fengli said lightly, as if he thought that Lu Chengsheng would stop as long as he moved out of the Eighth Thunder sect. When the Holy Thunder Taoist saw this scene, he also looked at Lu Chengsheng indifferently. He believed that Lu Chengsheng would do it. Choose wisely. But what Holy Thunder Taoist didn't expect was that Lu Chengsheng was a master who was not afraid of anything. Otherwise, he would not have taken action against the early Mahayana warriors at the peak of transcending tribulation. Oh, if I say, I don't give you face, what can you do? Lu Chengsheng frowned slightly, and his whole body exuded an extremely dangerous aura, which made all the monks present, including Qin Yuan, feel solemn. And the next second, Lu Chengsheng took action directly, regardless of the dissuasion of Holy Thunder Taoist. In his eyes, there was no one he could worry about. Die. Hearing Lu Chengsheng speak softly, he saw a sharp celestial energy shoot out from his fingertips and attack a monk in the late stage of transcending tribulation. Before the absolute strength gap, there is no need for fancy moves, just a simple blow is enough to kill them thousands of times. No, the monk in the late stage of transcending tribulation only had time to see it, but before he could react, he was hit by Lu Chengsheng's attack. His whole body swelled up like a balloon, and exploded in the next second, including the nascent soul. Escape. Everyone, let's go. After seeing this scene, Wanshi Taoist said with a horrified expression. After saying that, he attacked the barrier set up by Lu Chengsheng with all his strength. Not to mention that uniting can be enough to protect ourselves. If the powerful Mahayana stage is really so cheap, then but it became a joke. But how could they escape in front of the angry Lu Chengsheng? As Lu Chengsheng's attacks continued, the bodies of the transcending tribulation stage monks present exploded, and soon a bloody aura filled the air. But at this moment, Lu Juyuan thought of something and bowed to Lu Chengsheng, who was slaughtering crazily. Ancestor, please keep that bald head for me. He has some connections with an old friend of mine, and he didn't take any action against me just now. After all, Xiao Tai is in the Ba Tian sect, and Peng Tian is the elder of the Ba Tian sect. Maybe he knows Xiao Tai. Well, I understand. Lu Chengsheng just nodded lightly, then deliberately bypassed Peng Tian and shot out a stream of immortal energy, aiming directly at Wanshi Taoist. Senior, stop it. The leader of the Heihuan sect is about to break through to the Mahayana stage. When the time comes. Zai Huan Taoist desperately begged for mercy, but he did not let Lu Chengsheng stop. What did he just say? When Wanshi Taoist finished speaking, Lu Chengsheng murmured curiously. He was just happy that Taoist had been killed, so Lu Chengsheng did not think about pursuing it further. Moreover, the powerful people here, Lu Chengsheng, would go to their power to ask for an explanation afterwards. If Lu Chengsheng was not satisfied, he would not mind destroying the entire power. The immortal cultivation world is already full of bloodshed, and it only takes a matter of minutes for a strong person to destroy a force, because in the immortal cultivation world, strength is king. Does our tyrant sect have some connection with this little friend? Pang Tian, who was on the side, naturally heard what Lu Juyuan said, so he thought about it thoughtfully, but no matter what, he should have survived. Under Lu Chengsheng's almost terrifying strength, in just 1 minute, apart from Pang Tian, the only transcending tribulation stage experts present were Chen Fengli and Shui Changzhong. Senior, please be merciful. I will not pursue this matter any further. Please spare my life for the sake of the 8th Thunder sect. After seeing Lu Chengsheng's decisive character, even Chen Fengli couldn't help but become frightened. It was a pity that Lu Chengsheng had no intention of letting him go from the beginning. Do you know, since I started cultivating immortality, I have encountered countless people who were arrogant and domineering in front of me, but in the end they were beaten by me until they knelt down and begged for mercy, and then I softened my heart and spared their lives. It's just that I didn't get their gratitude afterwards, but got even crazier revenge from them. This put me in danger, so from that time on I made up my mind that once I took action, I would fight to the death. So, you'd better hit the road, Lu Chengsheng said calmly. Upon hearing this, a trace of fear flashed across the faces of Shui Changzhong and Chen Fengli, and a sharp look flashed across Chen Fengli's face. Since you want my life, then naturally I won't make it easy for you. Even if we can't die together, I will at least let you get hurt. After Chen Fengli said this, his whole body expanded. Is this going to self-destruct? Qin Yuan was a little surprised when he saw this scene and said, after all, once he self-destructs, he will really be dead. Even if he encounters a monk at the peak of transcending tribulation who self-destructs, he will probably suffer considerable injuries. However, few monks at the peak of transcending tribulation can self-destruct in front of monk Mahayana. After all, before they self-destruct, monk Mahayana may have killed them. As expected, Lu Chengsheng said calmly. If you really succeed in blowing yourself up in front of me, then I really don't have to mess around anymore. Juyuan, please be optimistic about this sword. Immortal flying immortal. As a rare sword cultivator, Lu Chengsheng's strength is needless to say. Moreover, Lu Chengsheng has also developed profound attainments in swordsmanship. Lu Juyuan happens to be behind him, so he wants to see what Lu Juyuan's talent is. In what way? Can you understand something through his sword? After hearing Lu Chengsheng's words, Lu Juyuan's expression became serious and he looked at Lu Chengsheng. Lu Chengsheng just stretched out his hand, and a snow-white sword appeared in his hand. This was Lu Chengsheng's weapon, the immortal weapon. What? It's actually this sword. Qin Yuan on the side was not calm for a moment, because he knew that Lu Chengsheng used this sword to kill the monk in the early stage of Mahayana on the spot, and this sword was known as Lu Chengsheng's strongest sword. The trump card is not an exaggeration. Didn't you expect that Lu Chengsheng would be willing to use this sword for Lu Juyuan? After hearing Qin Yuan's words, Lu Juyuan couldn't help but become serious. A trace of solemnity flashed in his eyes. Obviously, the reason behind it was heartwarming. At the same time, Lu Chengsheng's hand was seen gently brushing the sword of the eternal life sword, and his eyes full of nostalgia seemed to be looking at his lover. Although the description was extremely long, in the eyes of others, less than a second had passed, and Chen Fengli's body had already become completely shielded. Seeing this, Lu Chengsheng didn't hesitate at all and directly chose to take action. Immortality, flying immortal slash. This sword was realized by Lu Chengsheng during a life and death crisis, when he was on the verge of death, and that battle was the battle with the early monks of Mahayana. I saw Lu Chengsheng's sword fall, and a beautiful fairy seemed to appear from the sword of longevity. Her graceful figure in white clothes was extremely moving, and her every move carried a sense of charm. But there are usually extremely terrifying dangers beneath beautiful things, and this sword is no exception. I saw endless murderous intent under the fairy. In just an instant, the fairy came in front of Chen Fengli and passed straight through Chen Fengli's body. And just when the attack passed through Chen Fengli's body, Chen Fengali's swollen body slowly recovered towards the original shape, and soon returned to the original shape. Chen Fengali was obviously very confused when he saw this scene, but before he could react at all, his body began to slowly dissipate from his footsteps. In just 1 second, both of Chen Fengali's feet disappeared. Even now, he knew that he would definitely die and that he could not hurt Lu Changsheng and others. He could only turn his head and look angrily. Messaging stone. Daughter, take revenge on me. After saying that, Chen Fengali's whole person turned into ashes and completely disappeared between heaven and earth. At the same time, in the Chen family, the senior officials of the Chen family who were waiting for good news saw the elder in charge of the soul lamp running in with a look of horror on his face. Oh no, the master's soul lamp has gone out. Before any of the elders could speak, the elder spoke quickly out of breath. After hearing what he said, the elders present stood up with disbelief on their faces. Impossible, the head of our Chen family is unparalleled in the world, how could anyone be able to kill him? An elder of the Chen family at the peak of fusion said with an ugly face. He knew what the head of the family had done, but he didn't think anyone could threaten him. What's more, if the head of the family moved out of the Eighth Thunder sect, no matter what the other party did, he would definitely. It is impossible to kill the head of the family. However, after seeing an extinguished soul lamp with Chen Fengali's name written on it, they couldn't help but fell silent. At this time, as Chen Fengali's second younger brother, he was also the cultivation base of the Chen family besides Chen Fengali. The highest being. Chen Shuimu stood up, and Chen Shuimu's cultivation in the middle stage of transcending tribulation burst out, making the elders present quiet down. This matter must not be spread. In addition, send someone to the Eighth Thunder sect to inform Shuiyuan that the top priority is to stabilize the situation of the Chen family. After all, there are many forces that are eyeing our Chen family. If they know that our Chen family has suffered this, if something unexpected happens, it will definitely take the opportunity to erode the power of our Chen family. Chen Shuimu's words made the elders present unanimously agree. Chen Shuimu said again. Besides, Shuiyuan has joined the Eighth Thunder sect and has the Holy Thunder Taoist as her backer. It is only a matter of time before our Chen family rises in the future, so the most important thing now is to stabilize the morale of the army first. Chen Shuimu's words were quickly implemented by all the Chen family elders present, but what they didn't expect was that the forces they provoked were far more terrifying than the Eighth Thunder sect. At the same time, people from all the major forces felt that the soul lamp of their own transcending tribulation stage powerhouse was extinguished, and they couldn't help but become angry, but they were helpless. After all, the Chen family had intervened in this matter, and they did not dare to take action against the Chen family. On the other side, Chen Shuiyuan was watching her father die tragically in front of her, and the expression on her face became extremely ugly. She was staring at Lu Changsheng and Lu Juyuan. You guys, just wait for me, we have a long way to go. The hatred for killing her father is irreconcilable, and she will never let them have an easy time, and Sheng Lei Daoist's face is not very good looking. After all, the other party did not give her any face in front of her, so how could she smile? Lost it. What kind of force do you belong to? Holy Thunder Taoist asked with a gloomy face. He was not a fool, he just wanted to know what kind of power Lu Juyuan and others were. If they were a small power or not as good as the Eighth Thunder sect, they would just destroy them. Lu Changsheng naturally knew what he was thinking, but he was not afraid at all and sneered. We are members of the Lu family in Qingfeng town, and we are also a force within the Yuanwu kingdom. If you want to seek revenge, then go ahead. Lu Changsheng's words also made Sheng Lei Daoist determined to kill them. Ha ha ha, okay. Starting from today, your Qingfeng town Lu family will be our enemies of the Eighth Thunder sect. Next, just wait to meet the wrath of our Eighth Thunder sect. Holy Thunder Taoist said angrily, and directly cut off the communication of the Shadow Stone. Master, please help me avenge my hatred. If I don't avenge this revenge, I'm afraid my Taoist heart will be unstable and it will be difficult for me to break through to a higher realm. After cutting off the communication, Chen Shuiyuan immediately pleaded in front of Sheng Lei Daoist, but Sheng Lei Daoist just sighed and his expression became serious. Don't worry, the other party, our Ballet sect will never let him go. Not to mention that the other party provoked him, judging from the fact that the other party did not give them the face of the Eighth Thunder sect, the other party already had a way to kill him. Moreover, Chen Shuiyuan's current position in the 8th Thunder Sect is enough for the 8th Thunder Sect to avenge her blood. Thank you, Master. After Chen Shuiyuan heard this, she breathed a sigh of relief, but she had no idea what kind of powerful enemy the 8th Thunder Sect had provoked today. At the same time, after killing all the Transcending Tribulation stage monks, Lu Chengsheng turned to look at Lu Juyuan, only to see Lu Juyuan sitting down cross-legged, as if he had realized from his sword what. As expected of my descendant, can you actually realize something with just one sword? Ha ha ha. Lu Chengsheng laughed and said, it is obvious that with the presence of Lu Juyuan, the Lu family will definitely be able to shine, even surpassing its previous peak. Qin Yuan on the other side couldn't help but gasped after seeing this scene. This little friend Lu is really talented. Can he actually understand the meaning of the sword? You must know that among the 3,000 monks, sword cultivators are well deserved among the top 10, and sword intention is also called the supreme existence. Just because it is extremely difficult to comprehend sword intention, even he has not mastered sword intention. Of course, a very important part of the reason is because he is not a sword cultivator. When Lu Juyuan realized this, Lu Chengsheng's incarnation also looked at Qin Yuan. Qin Yuan suddenly felt like he was facing a formidable enemy, and Qin Yuan said quickly, Qin Yuan, I would like to pay my respects to my senior. After feeling Qin Yuan's kindness, Lu Chengsheng did not choose to take action to get rid of Qin Yuan. Instead, he looked at Qin Yuan and said thoughtfully, if I remember correctly, I saved a boy hundreds of years ago, also named Qin Yuan. It should be you. Hearing Lu Chengsheng's words, Qin Yuan felt excited in his heart. He didn't expect that the senior would still remember him, so he said quickly, it's the junior. Thank you, senior, for saving the junior at that time. Otherwise, the junior may not be able to break through to the Mahayana stage today. Well, in that case, I hope you won't leak what happened today, otherwise, you should know what the consequences will be. Lu Chengsheng said lightly, but the threat in it was self-evident. Qin Yuan naturally knew it, so he nodded repeatedly. Senior Lu is my savior, and the relationship between little friend Lu and me is extremely friendly. Naturally, I will not bring trouble to tell anything about what happened here. After hearing this, Lu Chengsheng nodded with satisfaction. It's best for you, but the most important thing now is to let my juniors understand the sword's intention with peace of mind first. With Juyuan's current situation, I'm afraid the sword's intention he has comprehended will be extremely terrifying. Although he still didn't know what Lu Juyuan's sword intention was, Lu Chengsheng felt an extraordinary aura just at the moment of realization. I'm afraid, the sword intention that Lu Juyuan realized would definitely not be that simple. Although Qin Yuan did not know the secrets of sword intent, he could still see that Lu Juyuan seemed to be filled with an extremely ancient and extraordinary aura. I am afraid that the grade of sword intent may not be low. At the same time, Lu Juyuan, who was in the process of enlightenment, fell into the spiritual world, and in his spiritual world, he saw a huge giant appearing in front of him. In the giant's hand, he held a long sword. The giant gently dropped the sword, and the whole world seemed to be cut in half with one sword, thus falling into a state of destruction. But after the destruction, there was also new life. Lu Juyuan was also stunned by this scene. He couldn't help but stand there blankly, and soon Lu Juyuan felt something in his heart. A mysterious aura filled the whole person's body. At the same time, in the outside world, Lu Chengsheng's face was full of smiles, obviously because of his junior Lu Juyuan's extraordinary talent, but soon the smile on Lu Chengsheng's face stopped. I saw a terrifying thunder tribulation appearing in the sky. This is the birth of something that defies heaven. Could it be Juyuan? Lu Chengsheng looked at Lu Juyuan in the distance with a gloomy expression, and the thunder tribulation that fell subsequently confirmed his suspicion. He saw the terrifying thunder tribulation falling, aiming directly at Lu Juyuan. What kind of sword intent have I, the younger generation, mastered that can actually cause the heavenly Tao to bring about a heaven-defying calamity? Lu Chengsheng's eyes were full of disbelief, but at the moment he could only watch. After all, he couldn't block the thunder tribulation of heaven. If he blocked it forcibly, it would only strengthen the power of the thunder tribulation. Moreover, he chose to believe in Lu Juyuan. Judging from Lu Juyuan's current situation, I am afraid that the mere thunder tribulation may not be able to threaten him. Qin Yuan on the other side was even more shocked. He couldn't help but curse in his mind, each member of the Lu family is more evil than the last. In front of him, there was Lu Chengsheng, who killed Mahayana stage at the peak of transcending tribulation, and now Lu Juyuan's talent is more than Lu Chengsheng was even more terrifying. But fortunately, he has a good relationship with the Lu family. If he establishes a good relationship with the Lu family now, it will be a big deal in the future. And just when thunder tribulation was about to hit Lu Juyuan's tightly closed eyes opened. I saw what a pair of eyes they were. The sky seemed to change color as soon as I opened my eyes. The trace of gray outlined in the eyes was like the sky and the earth when it first opened, full of the aura of Hongmeng Great Tao. Lu Juyuan then looked calmly at the thunder tribulation in the sky, and the next second, a terrifying sword intention was swung out from the Qingfeng sword. A terrifying thought flashed through Lu Chengsheng's mind, and he said with disbelief on his face, "No way, this breath is the legendary Hongmeng sword intent." After hearing Lu Chengsheng's words, a trace of shock appeared on Qin Yuan's face. How is it possible? Hongmeng's sword intention is not that person's exclusive sword intention. How is it possible that anyone can understand it? The person Qin Yuan mentioned refers to the Hongmeng immortal sovereign. As a being above the immortal king, just by pronouncing his true name, something ominous will happen. As for pronouncing its Taoist name, it will also be sensed by the other party, so they dare not say the name of Hongmeng Immortal Sovereign, otherwise Hongmeng Immortal Sovereign will find out what is going on here in an instant. Well, I'm afraid things are getting serious. Lu Chengsheng's brows also flashed with a hint of solemnity. After all, Hongmeng Immortal Sovereign is extremely domineering. If he knows that someone has understood the meaning of Hongmeng's sword, he will either accept him as a disciple or kill him without mercy. In addition, there is no other possibility. What happened today can be known to a few of us, or only our Lu family knows it. Do you understand? Lu Chengsheng threatened. Qin Yuan naturally knew the seriousness of the matter, so he nodded repeatedly, and finally let Qin Yuan go after he swore an oath of heaven under Lu Chengsheng's threat. After dealing with Qin Yuan, Lu Chengsheng looked at Lu Juyuan, who was under thunder tribulation, and couldn't help but say, "Ha ha ha, my descendants have the appearance of a mortal sovereign. After all, after mastering the Hongmeng sword intent, as long as you practice diligently, you may not be able to reach the height of the Hongmeng immortal sovereign in the future. By then, the Lu family will really have risen. In today's Emperor Zan continent, if the immortal emperor does not appear, the immortal sovereign is the strongest among them. If an immortal sovereign can emerge, then the Lu family will be able to stand among the first-class forces and dominate the entire Emperor Zan continent. Enjoy a prestigious reputation." With this idea in mind, Lu Chengsheng, Qin Yuan and the Thousand Ghost King all looked at Lu Juyuan in the transcending tribulation with solemn faces, and they all wanted to know how strong Lu Juyuan was now. Lu Juyuan, on the other hand, held the Qingfeng sword, looked at the thunder tribulation in the sky, and murmured expressionlessly, "This sword is the Hongmeng sword intent that I perceived from the first trace of the Hongmeng when the world first opened. And this sword is called, Opening the Sky." As Lu Juyuan's words fell, the next second, a sword intent spanning all eternity erupted from Lu Juyuan's body. At this time, Lu Juyuan's entire body seemed to have transformed into an ancient terrifying existence, moving towards thunder tribulation. The sword was swung out. The moment this sword full of Hongmeng aura came into contact with the thunder tribulation, it completely shattered the thunder tribulation in just an instant, and it was far from stopping. After shattering the thunder tribulation, this sword also blasted towards the calamity cloud in the sky, smashing the calamity cloud with one sword. Seeing this scene, the expressions of Lu Chengsheng and others were stunned. Obviously, they did not expect that Lu Chengsheng would break the thunder tribulation in this way. But a moment later, Lu Chengsheng shouted excitedly, "Ha ha ha, my descendants have the appearance of a mortal sovereign, my descendants have the appearance of a mortal sovereign." After hearing Lu Chengsheng's words, the expressions on the faces of Thousand Ghost King and Qin Yuan became serious. It was obvious that this time, they were going to take off. If they hugged the lap of a future immortal sovereign, they would not be able to take off. All difficult. You must know that the Mahayana stage is still subject to the limit of longevity, and it can only survive for tens of millions of years at most. But if it can break through to the human immortal stage, then the longevity will not be limited by the heaven and the earth, and it will be called the heaven and earth from now on. It's not an exaggeration to say Qi Shou. It was not Lu Juyuan's original intention to break this sword. He just wanted to try out his full strength. Obviously, thunder tribulation is a good experimental subject. But what Lu Juyuan didn't expect was that this thunder tribulation could not help but fight, and was destroyed by his sword. Of course, this could not be ruled out because of his strong strength now. At the same time, somewhere in the Emperor Zan continent, an ancient being was hidden in the chaos. As if he felt something, he slowly opened his eyes, with a slight surprise on his face. Is this someone who has realized the Hongmeng sword intent? Let me figure out where the opponent is. As the supreme master of Hongmeng sword intention, Hongmeng Immortal Sovereign can naturally feel the birth of Hongmeng sword intent, and if he wants, he can naturally deduce the information of the person who has mastered Hongmeng sword intent. But as Hongmeng Immortal Sovereign's calculations began, Hongmeng Immortal Sovereign's face also became surprised, and soon stopped, and said with disbelief on his face. How is it possible that there is someone in the Emperor Zan continent that I cannot calculate? Could it be that the other party is the son of the Immortal Emperor? No, we must find the other party. If I am not wrong in my induction, the other party's location should be in the southwest direction. Quote. Hongmeng Immortal Sovereign murmured, and soon began to think thoughtfully, and shouted softly after a moment. "En Lan, come see me." As the words of Hongmeng Immortal Sovereign fell, a figure soon appeared in front of Hongmeng Immortal Sovereign, and a terrifying aura could be felt from his body, but in front of Hongmeng Immortal Sovereign, he looked so negligible. If anyone is here, they will definitely recognize that the powerful man who suddenly appeared is none other than the famous En Lan Golden Immortal. His cultivation level reaches the peak of Golden Immortal. He is only one step away from breaking through to the Immortal King and becoming a giant-level powerhouse. After En Lan appeared, he said respectfully, "Master, what do you want from me?" "Well, I sense that someone has realized the Hongmeng sword intent, but there is something weird about the other person. I can't deduce the existence of the other party, so you go and find him for me." Hongmeng Immortal Sovereign said lightly, and after hearing Hongmeng Immortal Sovereign's words, a trace of horror flashed across En Lan's golden immortal face. He knew how powerful his master was. From the outside, my cultivation at the peak of Golden Immortal may be regarded as an extremely powerful existence, enough to rule the terrifying existence of a Dao realm. But in front of his master, there is not much difference between himself and a mortal. The only difference is that the mortal master can erase it with one thought, but he needs to go a little more trouble to erase it with one finger. The opponent's location is in the southwest, just look for it. If you meet a strong person, crush this jade tablet, and your master will appear to help you. After Hongmeng Immortal Sovereign said this, he handed En Lan Golden Immortal a small and exquisite jade tablet, which contained a touch of power of Hongmeng Immortal Sovereign. He only needed to crush the jade tablet to summon Hongmeng Immortal Sovereign, although it was not his true form. But killing the Immortal King instantly is definitely more than enough. Yes, Master, this disciple will definitely live up to Master's trust. After saying this, En Lan took the jade token and hurried towards the southwest. He didn't know how long this trip would take. After En Lan Golden Immortal left, Hongmeng Immortal Sovereign stood up. As he stood up, the whole world seemed to shake. Hongmeng's sword intention has not been born for a long time. I still remember the last time it was born. I hope this one can be more sensible and become my disciple. Hongmeng Immortal Sovereign shook his head and sighed. He still vaguely remembered that the last person who understood Hongmeng's sword intent was born 100 million years ago, and he also found the other person and expressed his intention to accept the disciple. After knowing his identity, he naturally agreed with great excitement. And under his own guidance, 100 million years have passed, and the opponent's cultivation level has also broken through to the early stage of Immortal King, which is extremely terrifying. After that, Hongmeng's sword intent never appeared again, so he went into seclusion, and this was the first time he woke up after 100 million years. After all, for Immortal Sovereign, time has become a decoration, and countless years have passed between opening and closing eyes. Lu Juyuan on the other side didn't know that he was already being taken care of by Hongmeng Immortal Sovereign. After killing the Thunder Tribulation, Lu Juyuan calmly put away the Qingfeng sword, but he saw the shocked expressions of the three people around him, so he couldn't help but ask, "What's wrong?" I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.